And welcome back to Paul Brown Stadium on this opening Sunday as the Broncos are ready to meet the Bengals. Hello again, everyone. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker. The new coach of the Bengals, Marv Lewis, has everyone really thrilled in Cincinnati. The attitude has changed, we're told. And so has it in Denver, where they think that Jake Plummer, Steve, is a guy that can lead them to great places. We'll see.
Well, this is a team that had a top-flight offense a year ago, a top-flight running game. They had a top-flight defense and did not go to the playoffs. They needed a leader and an identity offensively, and the Broncos fans and the organization want, hope, need, and expect Jake Plummer to be that guy, and today we'll find out if he is.
Well, the team has embraced him. They really like Jake. They think he's the guy. We'll find out. The anthem and the kickoff are coming up next. In his 7th year out of Central Washington, he says the attitude has been changed. He said we're right where we need to be to start this season. That's what he told us on Friday. If you look at his blockers, right tackle Willie Anderson has a big job today. He'll be blocking Trevor Price, the outstanding pass rusher for Denver. First down, first play of this new season for the Broncos and the Bengals. And they go to Corey Dillon, a man who ripped the Broncos for that record 278 yards the last time these two teams played, an NFL record for one-game rushing. You look at the defensive line, Trevor Price, a guy to watch, a tremendous rusher. He's been to 4 straight Pro Bowls. Some adjustments in the defensive line because of injuries. Al Wilson, a terrific middle linebacker from Tennessee. John Kitna says he calls him the ringleader of a great defense. Delta O'Neal at right corner's a guy to watch, and here's Corey Dillon running hard into the right side of the Bronco defense. And Gold takes him down, but he's close to a first down. It'll bring up 3rd and short, 3rd and about a yard.
As they get started here, Don, the Bengals know that Corey Dillon is a guy that's going to get the football to all season. The Broncos know it. You get 9.5 yards on 2 first and second down runs. That's exactly what the Bengals want to do, and these are the kind of results, Don, that a fragile team needs to have.
Let's watch here, Steve, of those linebackers shoot the gap to try to stop a run by Dillon on 3rd and short. This is Dillon turning it up, turning it ahead, and the Broncos do indeed shoot their linebackers and make the stop. The linesman comes in, and it's going to be, it looks like it's just short of it.
When you get a team like this, Don, with a history like the Bengals have, the Broncos say one thing: let's shut the door early and make them quit. The Bengals have had a reputation for that, particularly early in the season. Last year, they completely fell apart in opening day, and that's what the Broncos want to do. They want to put the nail in the coffin early and see if this team will quit.
Now the punt as the Bengals come up short on 4th and a yard, and here's the punt downfield. And the Broncos get good field position out to their 40 as Delta O'Neal runs the ball back. Now Jake Plummer ready to make his first regular season start as a Denver Bronco in his 7th year out of Arizona State, a guy who signed in the offseason a 6-year, $40 million contract with the Broncos because his coach, Mike Shanahan, thinks he's the guy that can do it, can lead them back to Super Bowl glory. Jake himself said in the offseason, I have yet to prove I'm a consistent winner. As a starter with the Cardinals, he was 30 wins, 52 losses, but he didn't have this surrounding cast or this coaching. And now they go to reverse on first down, and the very fast Ashley Lee turns the corner and runs ahead for 13 yards. And a first down for the Broncos.
Watch here, this is Ashley Lee, a guy who has just really shined here in the preseason. Everybody who's watched him play say, yeah, he may have a few things to learn, but this is a guy who has a bright future. He is an incredible athlete. And Don, when you talk about incredible athletes in the NFL and you have your peers saying that about you, you are truly something special because it takes a lot to impress the guys on an NFL roster.
Well, he had 35 catches as a rookie, 2 for touchdowns, as you know, Steve. They expect him to at least double that production this year. And now to the run go the Broncos with their great young runner, Clinton Portis. And he doesn't get much, just across the line of scrimmage. It'll be at the 47-yard line, 2nd down and really about 10. So we look at the Broncos on defense. At the right end, a very good pass rusher. And Justin Smith, the new middle linebackers, the Kevin Hardy, an 8-year veteran, a Pro Bowler in the past with Jacksonville. and Torrey James, who started for the Broncos in one of their Super Bowl victories.
Well, Marvin Lewis brought a number of veterans on with playoff experience, Don. It's no question he's trying to change the attitude and the expectations in that locker room.
And he cut a lot of guys that they didn't think were going to be cut. Now they go to the run, and Portis turns the corner. So the Broncos come out with very good offensive precision, excellent blocking, and a 10-yard run by Clinton Portis. It was a kind of a remarkable story in that he got stronger in the December games last year, even though his weight was in the 190s. Over the last 5 games, he averaged 6.5 yards a carry.
This is a guy that he gave them a top-flight run game. Look at that rookie season. I mean, you just don't find that. That's why it's amazing when you look at the year statistically the Broncos had last year, they did not make the playoffs.
Well, they plan to make him this year, and now Jake ready to throw his first pass. Here comes the rush. It's a screen pass to Portis. Running in the open field. He is hit hard at the 32. He will be about 4 yards short of a first down, which will bring up 2nd and 4. 6-yard gain on the play, and outside linebacker Adrian Ross is the man who makes the stop.
You know, we spoke to Mike Shanahan yesterday, and he said, you know, is Jake Plummer everything you thought he would? And he says he's everything I expected and more. The guy really enjoys playing football. He likes being at the office, and I'll tell you what, Don, he's going to like being at the office in Denver a lot more than he did in Arizona.
Well, he's never had this cast around him with the coaching he's going to get from Shanahan and Kubiak. Now let's see what he does on 2nd down. He fakes the draw. Good play faker. Takes a look. Makes a throw to an open receiver. And it's Shannon Sharp, the best tight end perhaps that's ever played the position. And he's inside the 10-yard line for a 23-yard gain. But there is a penalty marker down at the line of scrimmage. And holding is called against the Broncos. It comes back.
Illegal hands to the face. Number 74 of the offense. 10 yards. Repeat, 2nd down.
That's Ephraim Salam on that penalty. And Jake Plummer, I mean, for the early going, he has looked very sharp. And, you know, you and I have alluded to it already, Don. Jake Plummer never played on a team like this. And this is a team that has high expectations offensively. They've got a lot of veterans around him, guys who have played in this offense for a number of years, particularly at the wide receiver spot. You look at Ed McCaffrey and Rod Smith. These are guys not only that can be in the right spot, but help him in his adjustment to this offense. Jake Plummer, I think, if he can stay in the pocket, is going to be sensational.
Well, he said everything about the organization. The big difference from there in the Cardinals is that everything about the Broncos organization is positive, and he does indeed have guys around him who've won Super Bowls. Here's a slip screen out to Rod Smith, and on a 2nd down and 15 play from the 41-yard line, Rod Smith is inside the 35 for an 8-yard gain.
You know, you talk about Jake Plummer, and everybody knows that he's an athlete. He likes to get out of the pocket. And a moment ago I said, you know, if he can stay in the pocket, he'll be great. Well, he's great when he gets out of the pocket, but ultimately he's going to have to get in the pocket and stay there. And Mike Shanahan said something that was surprising. When he was in college, he was a pocket passer. If he can do that again here with the Broncos, this team is going to be very good.
Well, Jake says it's fun. He told us it's fun to be out of the pocket. And he's now taking the deep drop in the pocket. Lets a long ball go, an open receiver, and the ball is separated on a hard hit by Torrey James, the ex-Bronco, as he pops Shannon Sharp.
That was just a little bit of miscommunication by Jake Plummer and Shannon Sharp. Jake had to hang on to the ball a hair longer. Shannon Sharp had to turn the corner out flatter towards the line of scrimmage in the sideline before he let it go. You see here, he thinks Shannon Sharp's going to take a touchdown angle. Shannon does the right thing and cuts in front of the defensive back, but the ball was already gone.
Terrific play, though, by Torrey James, breaking it up, and now a 51-yard field goal. It is driven up and down, and it is good. And so the Broncos on a 51-yard field goal by one of the great kickers in the game, Jason Elam, take a 3-0 lead. Elam comes off, and we come back to Cincinnati. Welcome back to Cincinnati. We're on a 7-play, 27-yard drive. It's culminated by a 51-yard field goal by Elam. And now you see Jake on the sideline talking to Steve Berline. I spent with Steve this morning for about a half hour, and he really likes Jake Plummer. He says the team has embraced him. He said he's starting to realize he's in a really good system here, and it's going to be easier to win than it was in Arizona, as the kickoff return by Brandon Bennett is taken across the 20, and he works himself to the 23-yard line. We'll be coming back to Cincinnati after this word with the Broncos in the lead 3-0.
Next Ford F-150. It's here. And by Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down. Make it a Bud Light.
We're back, and there's Marvin Lewis, who tries to end a long play-out drought here in Cincinnati. David Shula, Bruce Kozla, Dick LeBeau, all were head coaches during the dreadful 90s.
All right, you going the way?
And not been to the playoffs since 1990 of the Bengals. And now a handoff, and Corey Dillon takes on some tacklers, and he gets ahead for about a 5-yard gain. Middlebacker Al Wilson, who was here in this field when Dillon ripped the Broncos for the 278 yards.
Don, you and I did that game, and what an amazing game that was. He had 22 carries on the day. 9 of them were for 1 yard or less.
Yeah, but he averaged for the day 12.6 yards a carry.
Wow. It was almost supernatural the way that game played out.
It was for Dillon. He's a guy that loves to take on tacklers, and here's a blitz. They pick it up nicely, a throw and a catch, a beautifully executed play as the Bengals pick up the blitz. A 13-yard gain to Chad Johnson, who's coming off an almost 1,200-yard receiving year a season ago.
Yeah, he did that 1,200 yards in the last 11 games of the season. He only had 5 catches in the first 5 games, and then he just exploded. Once John Kitna took over last year as starting quarterback, this offense began to take strides into what it could be a very good team. But Chad Johnson is a huge part of what they're going to try and do.
Yeah, he caught 69 last year, averaged 17 yards a catch, and here is Dillon again. But this time the Broncos are ready for him. And Dillon, who loves contact.
And Corey Dillon, you asked him yesterday, Don, what was his favorite play, and he had an interesting answer: right up the middle. And you see here, this is what happened that day 2-3 years ago. And this was a 65-yard run in the 4th quarter. And that was the moment when we found out that he broke the great Walter Payton's rushing record. And what a day it was.
But not for the Broncos. How well they remember it. Here is a big defensive play by the Broncos as they slap the ball back, coming at the ball. Darius Holland got a piece of it, number 90. Who's starting today for Dorset Davis.
You see there, Don, this is some of the Bengals. And John Kitna, they're a little bit in the same situation that the Broncos were in last year. The Broncos had a good running game, had an excellent defense, but their quarterback was inconsistent. John Kitna is not inconsistent, but he's steady. And once in a while, you need your quarterback to make great plays. And John Kitna has not been able to do that consistently.
Well, he gets time now, lofts the ball downfield, and it is not close, but a penalty marker comes in. It will be a first down for the Bengals. As it is ruled, there was an infraction committed against Peter Warwick. So a penalty brings the ball over the midfield line and into Bronco territory.
John Kitna has brought a steadying influence here, mostly to these young receivers. This is Peter Warwick here. This is starting his 4th year after being very high pick in the draft. You see there, maybe overdoing it a little. I don't know if anybody threw him to the ground or if he just went down trying to draw the penalty, but it was a good play. I didn't think it was that much of a penalty.
It was a 13-yard penalty, and now Dillon, they studied a lot of film, Steve, of that last time they played the Bengals, because the gaps that Corey Dillon cut back through for all those yards, they're not there today.
Yeah, one of the things that happened in that game a few years ago was that the Denver Broncos over-pursued, and Corey Dillon would stop and cut back against the grain, and there was nobody behind the play to stop him. Plus, Corey Dillon, and you and I sat and talked with him, and the first thing we noticed is, man, he's big. This guy breaks a lot of tackles. If the first guy doesn't make the tackle, he's going to run a while.
Yeah, I said, what's your favorite play? He said, up the middle. He said, occasionally we'll run something wide, but I like it up the middle, right at people. And now Kitna's on the run, and John Kitna gets inside the 40-yard line, and so on a 2nd down and almost 9, he gains 6. In the preseason, the Bengals had the #1 offense in the NFL, but they had the worst turnover ratio. They turned the ball over 11 times.
Well, one of the things about the Bengals is last year they really missed the boat in not starting John Kitna from the very beginning. This is a guy that knows how to manage an offense. He may not be physically gifted or do all those spectacular things that some of the other quarterbacks can do, but he will not make a huge mistake. Once in a while, he'll do something that will give his team a chance to win. He's a smart, headsy quarterback, and that's what they needed last year and didn't get.
Well, he's been under the Radkowski system for 6 years. Here's the throw and a catch and a fumbled ball. They're going to rule him down. Officials are running with the play. No, they're ruling him down. It's not a live ball. A lot of guys getting some exercise. Nope. It's coming back. So Lenny Walls, starting his first NFL game, thought he had 6. But the Bengals are now down there waving him back, saying Lenny was a good rehearsal.
And you'll watch this as Chad Johnson coming across. He's going to catch this, and watch. He's going to go down, and the ball will pop out after he's down. There, he's down right there, and the ball pops out. That's classic that the ground caused a fumble. It doesn't matter that he caught it in the air. It's all irrelevant. Chad Johnson was down. It was an excellent call by the officials and a little extra running work for Lenny Walls.
Shouldn't a guy have to hold the ball, though, Steve, after he hits the ground?
Well, it used to be that way, but now, because of the fact that, well, actually, I'll tell you what, Don, it was the instant replay rule that did that. It changed everything. And now the officials, they had to cut it close because, remember, in the old days, they were down by contact, and the ball would pop out, and they said, well, we called him down, and the whistle hadn't blown, and there was all kinds of confusion around plays just to that kind. So they just took it all out and said if he goes down and it comes out after he goes down or because of the ground, it doesn't count.
So it is a first down. Getting against time again. Takes a look. He overthrows a wide open Peter Warrick. A total quarterback error. Warrick was running free by 10 yards inside the 15-yard line.
John Kitten had just missed him. Absolutely missed him. This is Warrick right there on the outside, and he's going to take off and go right up towards the numbers on the far side and watch where the ball goes. He's got no chance. I mean, it barely even gets into the picture, and you can see the disgust. And, man, you work all off season. You put a play like that in, you hope you have the guts to call it, and when you do, you hope you can pull the trigger on it, and then something like that happens. That's frustrating.
Well, they'll be calling it again before long, as now it's 2nd down and 10 for the Bengals. Handoff, and Dillon. The stutter step does no good, as coming to make the strike is John Mobley. Head coach Marvin Lewis of the Bengals said every team is now using the Tampa Bay blueprint on defense. Won a Super Bowl, and he said John Mobley is their Derek Brooks on Denver. He said he gets it.
And you noticed right there, I mean, he's tackling probably one of the elite runners in all the National Football League, and he did it by himself in the open field. Great defenses make tackles. I mean, it sounds simple, Don, but if the first guy to the ball makes the tackle, you've got a top 5 defense, period.
How you going in the way?
Well, if they don't convert this, and where the ball is positioned, Steve, it would be about a 51-yard field goal. The Bengals kicking game, unlike that of the Broncos, is an adventure. Getting a looks. Rolling out, he's going to get hit. He throws the ball, and it's almost intercepted, incomplete. So it will be 4th down at the 33-yard line. And will they send out their field goal kicker? They have a new one. They seem to always have a new one here. Shane Graham, who hit 73% of his field goals during his previous years with the Bills, briefly, and with Carolina, is their field goal kicker. Right now, they're keeping the regular offense on the field.
Well, if you want to see how Marvin Lewis is going to change things in Cincinnati, this may be it.
I'd run the underneath pattern to Warrick again. He was uncovered the last time.
And I'll tell you what, in years past, Don, this is a Corey Dillon run. Believe it or not, 4th and 11. They hand it off to him.
Here's a blitz. Here's a throw and a catch, and running down inside the 30 and well short of the first down is tight end Matt Schobel. So they get yards, but not nearly enough on 4th down, and the Broncos take over the ball on downs. Denver in the lead 3-0. We'll be back to Paul Brown Stadium in a moment. About a better surrounding cast. They didn't call on Graham to try the long field goal for Elam when they set him up from 51 yards out. They have total confidence, and he hit one earlier to open the scoring in this game. Now they pass in 4th down, don't get there, and now they run. Do the Broncos with Clinton Portis running hard, and he crosses the 30 out to the 33. There is the holder who had so many problems in the preseason. Their long snapper, Brad St. Louis, a tight end, they think is as good a long snapper as there is in football. But Harris just couldn't catch the ball.
Don, it was the ugliest thing I've ever seen in special teams in the preseason, and it was the last preseason game. I mean, they had 3 times where they couldn't even get the ball teed up to kick it, let alone see if the guy could do it.
Some Bronco fans may remember, Steve, that Nick Harris was originally a draft choice of the Broncos. Now on 2nd down and 4. Jake Plummer from an open backfield takes a look. Here comes the rush. He makes a connection for a first down as Portis comes out. This brilliantly conceived Denver offense. And Jake the Snake is certainly looking very comfortable in it as he hits Portis for a 13-yard gain.
Well, that's exactly what you want to do with Jake Plummer. Just give him a chance to stand in the pocket. You notice, Don, one of the things I think may surprise some people, he hasn't ran right or left. He hasn't tucked the ball and gone away. At this point, if he was in Arizona, he's already got 15, 20 yards rushing. And right now, Look at his numbers, 3 for 4 for 27 yards. That's exactly what Mike Shanahan is looking for.
Mike wants him to stay within the system because the system works. He's got people who've won Super Bowls around him. Here's another screen pass to Portis. And again, he breaks it this time to about midfield. A short gain. Well, he's going to end up with about 5. Brian Simmons runs him out of bounds.
The reason this short passing game is working so well for the Broncos is because of Ed McCaffrey, Rod Smith, and Ashley Lilly. They've got 3 of the best, most dangerous wide receivers in the league. The linebackers and defensive backs do nothing but watch where those guys go. Clinton Portis just slips out of the backfield on a screen pass, and there's nobody there. I mean, these linebackers and defensive backs are so worried about this trio of wide receivers, they're not thinking about this short passing game.
Short passing game has been the difference as the Broncos lead at 3-0. Here's a blitz, and they go to the run and fighting for yardage and coming up just short. It'll bring up 3rd down and 2. Is Clinton Portis, the second-year back out of Miami of Florida, a second-round draft choice in 02, a guy who averaged an NFL best 5.51 yards a carry as a rookie.
I mean, that guy can play, Don. And if you got a rookie, if you got one of those rotisserie leagues or a fantasy league, Clinton Portis may be your MVP. And there's Gary Kubiak. It's interesting, too. The Broncos have 2 really good offensive minds. Gary Kubiak, who you see is upstairs, and, of course, the head coach, Mike Shanahan. These 2 guys put together, you've got an offensive stats with just 2 guys.
And now we've got a big play. 3rd down and about 2 yards to go for the 1st down. Jake rolling out. Here comes the rush of Jake Plummer. He throws downfield, and the ball is blocked away. A big play by the Bengal defense is again coming up to make it. Was Mark Roman, one of the safeties, who's been around the ball.
One of the things that happened here, Don, Jake Plummer rolled out, but he rolled too deep. The ball took too long to get there, and it took him too long to get his shoulder squared up to the line of scrimmage to find Shannon Sharp. He should have hit Shannon Sharp with that pass just at the numbers instead of out to the sidelines, but it took him just too long. I think that's just being a little nervous on opening day and rolling out a little too deep to get that ball delivered on time.
And that will force a 4th down punt. Ready to punt the ball is Micah Knorr. He left foots it high. Nicely done. Here is Peter Warwick. He's going to let it hit, and it comes into the end zone. Warwick was one of the great punt returners in the history of college football at Florida State. One of the reasons he was the number 4 pick overall in the draft when he came out 4 years ago. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker back at Cincinnati. Marvin Lewis, his first game as a head coach in the NFL. He sees his Bengals down 3-0. Broncos getting their points on a 51-yard field goal by Jason Elam. Now with John Kitna at quarterback, the Bengals try again, looking for a timing throw. He dumps it off over the middle, and Dillon gets very little as the Broncos have everything covered, as we'll take a look now at a defensive package.
Well, the Bengals told us they've got to match Denver's intensity. They knew Denver was going to come out very fast, very hard emotionally, and just as of now, that's showing through. Denver has stifled everything that the Bengals have tried to do. And if the Bengals just want to weather this storm and make sure they can come in the 4th quarter with a chance to win.
Now the whistle blows before the snap of the ball. Yeah, that's one of the things that John Kitna said to us. We asked him for keys of the game when we talked to him on Friday at practice, and he said, number 1, we have to match their intensity.
5 yards, still 2nd down.
Broncos with a very unusual season a year ago. Started 6-2 and looked like they were headed back to the Super Bowl. And then came a cropper in the second half, and nobody really has a reason. Mike Shanahan said that last year was inexcusable. He said it was his most disappointing season. A lot of hard work has been put in to get this team ready. And early on, the Broncos are looking ready as Kitna drops to throw. They're giving him some time, but he's running out of it. And Kitna, who's had a big fumbling problem, holds on to the ball. Burt Berry was in there on him. Leslie Frazier, who is the defensive coordinator now for Cincinnati.
And this is the key to being a good NFL football team. If you can get pressure with just 4 guys rushing, you've got a chance. And you see there, Burt Berry gets in finally, plus the rest of them pile on top. If you can get pressure with 4 guys, you can win a Super Bowl. You ask the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that's what everybody points to. 4-man rush, 7 guys to cover all the receivers. You got a chance in every game.
That's what Shanahan was talking about yesterday. He said Tampa Bay only rushed 4 against the Raiders, dominated them. Here's a flat throw and incomplete as Kitna is off target, and the pressure from the defensive front of the Broncos has a lot to do with that. So some early boos that start to wind their way down from the upper reaches of Brown Stadium. They've known disappointment here in Cincinnati since the days of the jungle back in the 80s, and they were one of the best teams in the NFL. Sundays this fall on CBS, thousands of crimes go unsolved, but one detective is about to bring some of these cold cases back to life. From the network that brings you CSI comes the next great crime drama, Cold Case. Premieres 3 weeks from tonight after 60 minutes. Now the Bengals must punt the ball from deep in their own end as Delta O'Neal standing back at the 38-yard line of the Broncos. Nick Harris, the punter, a 3-year veteran out of Cal, hits a high punt. O'Neal comes up on it. He's got open field to run. Cutting back, they set up a return right. O'Neal cutting back, and the special teams play, which has been a problem for the Bengals in the preseason, allows him about a 15-yard return down to the 42-yard line. So Jake and the Broncos offense gets good field position to start this drive.
Human thigh bones are stronger than concrete. The tallest wave ever surfed was 66 feet tall. Miller Lite has half the carbs of Bud Light. Amazing, huh? Miller Lite, great taste, less filling.
Got some big NFL appetites heading your way? Looks like you need the NFL deal from Pizza Hut and Pepsi. Order any large specialty pizza at regular price and you get a medium 1-topping pizza and a 2-liter of Pepsi for just $1.99 more. A Pizza Hut pizza and a Pepsi. Gather around the good stuff.
Epson T001, Canon BC31E.
Shopping for ink and toner in most stores is hit or miss.
Start this drive from the 46-yard line of Cincinnati. Plummer hands off, and Portis just rockets through a gap and breaks it for a 10-yard gain and a first down into the right side of the Bengal defense.
Let me tell you, Don, that'll give you an idea of why that guy had 1,500 yards. There was nothing but a crack in the defense, and watch how fast, when he makes his decision, watch how fast he gets through there. Right there, he sees it and is back up between the defenders, right inside the defensive back. If that guy doesn't trip him up, he's gone.
It's a guy, in addition to his 1,500 yards rushing, scored 17 touchdowns as a rookie, 15 of them rushing. 2 on receptions. They go right back to the man in the orange shoes, and he makes more yardage for the Broncos. Inside the 30 and down to the 28-yard line. A gain of 7 yards on the play for Clinton Portis.
Nothing is more demoralizing than standing on the sidelines and watching your defense get run on. Not being able to defend the run is the most demoralizing thing you can stand there and watch as a team, because you are defenseless. Running is the most simple and basic thing you can do in football, and if you can't stop the other team from doing it, you have no chance.
See those rushing numbers last year.
Timeout,
Ricky Williams, the guy from the Dolphins who led the way with 1,800 plus. Right now there's a timeout on the field with the Broncos leading the Bengals 3-0. 0 Broncos. Don Criggy with Steve Tasker. Marvin Lewis told us when we met with him that teams and players are measured by their ability to overcome adversity. He's got a little early adversity to overcome as the Broncos are dominating this game right now, Steve.
Well, this Bengals team, I think one of the top teams in the NFL for turnover this year. 41% of their players are brand new. You don't go 2-14 with good players, and Marvin Lewis found that out.
Pitch back to Portis. Cutting back into the heart of the defense on 2nd and short. He looks to have a first down to the 26-yard line. Justin Smith, a very good, fast defensive end from Missouri. 90 ran him down.
You know, one of the things, Don, about this Bengals organization is you talk about the changes they have made. And Justin Smith, one of the guys there that has a fast motor, always plays hard. And in years past, you couldn't say that about all the Cincinnati Bengals. You come in, a lot of people, blame Mike Brown. They blame the coaching staff. But let me tell you, Don, if you're going to give the players credit when you have a great team, give them the blame when you go 2-14. And the Bengals players from a year ago and years before deserve a lot of the blame. It wasn't all upstairs.
And they got the blame. It was ongoing here. Here is another reverse. And again, the Bengals are unable to cut off the corner angle, and running with the ball is Rod Smith. Rogers Beckett runs him out of bounds, but it's a 12-yard gain. Portis has been a feature guy on the game plan, though.
Yeah, it's not always just the young guys like Ashley Lalee who can get that end around. The old guys can come around and make some hay, too. Rod Smith turns the corner, and I'll tell you what, when you get on that and the defense is caught off guard, it's a great feeling turning up that sideline and not seeing anything but green grass, Don. And they don't call that play unless they know it's going to work in previous plays. They've seen guys over pursue.
Well, it's been working. Portis in the game has 10 touches for 64 total yards running and receiving as he gets the ball on another carry. A first down run down to the 11 as the Broncos are now challenging for the first touchdown of the game.
The Broncos struggled in the red area a year ago. Once they get down into scoring area, which is inside the 20 or the 15-yard line, they really struggled a year ago. And the thing that the good teams do that a lot of teams don't is when they do get down close, Don, they run the football. They can run it effectively, and that opens up the passing game because the field shrinks. The defense has to pack it in more and more, and then you can find creases to throw it.
Well, the biggest problem of the Broncos was scoring. They gave up more points than any team in the NFL last season, 456. A second down throw, and the timing is off. Ashley Lee and Jake were on different pages there.
Yeah, Tony Williams came up and flashed right in Jake Plummer's face. And I think that was a little scar tissue from being an Arizona quarterback. He saw that coming and thought, well, here it comes again, and just got rid of it without taking that extra split second to get rid of it. You see there, he just winged it out there without taking a step and setting up his receiver. That's a guy who's just not used to having that extra split second that you need.
The interception has been the nemesis of the career of Jake Plummer. But he's had some great moments also. Now on third down, he hands off, and Portis runs and gets a first down inside the 5-yard line. Great offensive line blocking by the Broncos, a 9-yard gain, and they have it first and goal.
Don, everybody did it right on this one. The offensive line dominated. Watch Ed McCaffrey come in right there and block the safety that gives him that extra push to get the first down. Don, when you're on a good team, everybody plays hard because everybody's unselfish, and that's one of the things that stood out when we talked to these players. Nobody talked about me this, me that. Everybody talked about the success of the team and the teammates, and that's the difference.
Now let's see if it's Portis making the difference as he takes the ball, gets down close, touchdown Broncos. So Marvin Lewis talked about handling adversity, and the adversity is building for the Bengals as they're down 9-0 with the extra point coming up.
And this is just a solid right up the middle run by Clinton Portis right off the right side. You see the offensive line. One of the things this Denver line does is moves very well laterally, even in tight spots. And it gives the running back a chance to look and find a spot to run, and that's just keeping his balance, pushing it in. You see there, Dan Neal in the end zone leading him right in for the touchdown.
Elam, an automatic guy on extra points. He set an NFL record with 371 consecutive extra points. Hits one. Broncos have taken a 10-0 lead, and Elam will kick off when we come back to Cincinnati. Cincinnati. The Broncos, a very precision-oriented team, working beautifully with this complex offensive game plan, mainly focused around Clinton Portis, who's rushed 10 times for 5.4 yards a carry. Right on target where he was last year.
Yeah, you really couldn't ask for anything more if you're Mike Shanahan. You're getting a chance to work Jake Plummer into the system very, very slowly. He hasn't had to carry the load at all. Clinton Portis has done it all, and that's been just the way they game planned.
And so far, Dillon has not been a factor in this game as he was in the last meeting in 2000. Here is Brandon Bennett breaking a gap and getting out to the 29-yard line. And right now, the Bengals need big plays, and they need them from their quarterback, John Kitna. Coming up, the Nextel halftime report. Join Jim, Dan, Deon, and Boomer for all of today's scores and highlights, plus a preview of the U.S. Open men's final between Andy Roddick and Juan Carlos Ferrero. It's all coming up on the Nextel halftime report.
You know, Don, we've said some things about the Bengals, and Marvin Lewis has done a lot of good things here in Cincinnati, but let's face it, he's got a lot of work to do, and it's how they handle games like this when they're down early that's going to be the difference.
Here's a throw in the flat. Here is Peter Warrick, who's got many moves. He's going to need them all to get out of this jam, and he can that solved the Broncos defense as he loses 5 yards on the play.
That's one thing that has haunted Peter Warrick his entire career in the NFL. In college, he could do that because he was better than everybody else on the field. It doesn't work in the National Football League. His style is such that when he gets the football and wants to make a cut, he makes a big, hard stick move, which brings him almost to a complete stop. And when you stop on a football field, everybody's running faster than you are, including the goalposts. The violence comes in a hurry, and when he makes cuts like that, it closes the gap.
Even the goalposts can come after you. I guess if you run into him. And here's a handoff now, and Dillon finally breaks something on a 2nd down and 14 play. He is ahead close to the 34-yard line, but there is a penalty marker down, and the signal's against the Bengals.
Now you look at this Cincinnati team, they have drafted high for 12 years.
Holding, 63 offense, 10 yards, repeat 2nd down.
They have had a lot of picks high in the 1st round as a team that has had their history you'd expect. And these are some of the guys they've done. Achilles Smith, no. Raider, gone. Wilkinson's playing for another team, gone. All those guys, and those were high 1st round draft picks. They are all gone, and that will put a team in the position that the Bengals have been in for over a decade.
A lot of number 2 of those were number 1s who didn't work out. Kajana Carter, injuries bothered him, and Big Daddy Wilkinson. Another one, 1st pick overall. Here's a throw downfield, and is it intercepted? I think it is. And it is picked up. It looked like Kelly Herndon came up with the ball. 2nd-year defensive back out of Toledo with a lot of family here watching today. And a huge play by Herndon, and so far Kitna and the Bengal offense have been absolutely unable to attack this Bronco defense. Early on, it's the new Bengals, but the same old story.
Time to get messy. Stylish. Sexy. Spectacular.
You want to know the secret to winning? Rigged again.
Johnny Depp does it again. He's as good as it gets.
This is supposed to be the big dance number. You dig it?
I can dig it. Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Rated R. Opens everywhere Friday.
Find just the right car, it's almost like the car finds you. The complete line of Saturns.
CBS Premiere Monday begins with the hit comedy Yes Dear.
You really think that you can do a better job disciplining our children than we can?
I think a monkey and a blow-up doll could do a better job.
Then it's last year's #1 new comedy, Still Standing.
You didn't shave on our wedding day.
In all fairness, neither did you.
Followed by the Raymond season premiere.
Well, I'm ready.
And Charlie Sheen in the new series 2.5 Men.
Will you take us swimming in the ocean?
Why would I lie? The ocean is closed today.
It's a night of premieres Monday, September 22nd. And catch Dave on The Late Show.
Access NFL.com for live scores and stats. And after the games, AOL members get exclusive NFL.com features only on AOL.
Your car breaks down.
What if I take the ride?
Your wife vanishes. How far would you go to get her back?
Where is she?
Breakdown, CBS tonight.
There is Kelly Herndon, who just came up with a big play, his 2nd career interception, stopping early on another Bengal drive, and now good field position again for the Broncos. Starting at the 39-yard line of Cincinnati. Tip ball, it's right back the other way, and on the run is linebacker Brian Simmons, one of the fastest linebackers in this conference. And so on consecutive plays, balls are intercepted. Jake gets his first of the season, and an 11-yard return by Simmons.
And if you're smart, you're Mike Shannon, you say, hey, Jake, don't worry about it. That ball got tipped. That's not your fault. You went to the right spot, and he did. He had his tight end right open, right in the right spot. But as he lets it go, it's tipped right there.
Whose fault is it?
Powell, as the offensive lineman, you got to get into the guy's chest. You got to punch him in the stomach and get his arms down. And in that play, he didn't get it done. You see there, the offensive lineman tried to cut him. That's too late. You got to hit him in the stomach and get his arms down. Otherwise, your quarterback gets picked.
Sometimes there's a rule even against that solar plexus punch, Steve.
Yeah, there's rules against a lot of stuff there, Don.
You were a nasty one in your day.
I mean,
7 Pro Bowls, though.
You fight fire with fire.
First down and 10. Here's a pitch back. And Corey Dillon, boy, they're coming after him. I tell you, we met with Al Wilson last night. And he almost couldn't wait to play this game. He's still embarrassed by that huge day 3 years ago when Dillon ripped the Broncos for the record yardage.
See, I think it's a mistake by the Bengals. If you're at home in your opener, you're trailing by 10 in the first quarter, or the second quarter, and you get a turnover of that magnitude. I mean, you got to go for it. Come back. Their defense is back on the field. Go for the long one. Hurt them now.
The Bronco defense is going for it right now. They send blitzers. Kitten gets time. They pick it up, and the ball is tipped and almost intercepted again. And you have to realize now there's a player on the bench at Cincinnati who everybody by acclamation in this league after seeing him in the preseason thinks is going to be great, and that is quarterback Carson Palmer.
Now that fan will give you an idea of what they're thinking. They give him the outside to Kitna.
Carson Palmer, the Heisman Trophy winner from Southern California, the #1 pick in the last draft, goes to Cincinnati. In the preseason, he had some interception problems, but his overall quarterback rating was 90, just under 90. And Marvin Lewis told us, when will he be in there? As soon as he's the best option to win. Well, Kitten's doing nothing today, but getting in trouble. Getting on the run, looking for somebody to go to. Penalty markers are down as he throws the ball completed, but it very well be a penalty against the offense. We'll see.
I think it's going to be an illegal man down the field, Don. Kitna was running for his life, and the offensive lineman went down to block for him, and it was too late. He stayed behind the line of scrimmage and gave it a toss.
Obviously, Steve, you don't want to, jettison your game plan and your starting quarterback.
An illegal shift on the offense.
And go to a rookie.
A man in motion as another man makes a shift, never resetting. 5 yards, replay, third down.
Well, you said it, Don. Their third quarterback, Carson Palmer, anybody you talk to in the organization, we know some people in it, they say they cannot believe, and this includes John Kitna saying this, they've never seen a guy come into the league that talented. This guy has got everything, and the Bengals are going to make sure that when he's the best option, he's going to get in there, but they're not going to just throw him in there to let him make mistakes and lose confidence.
Now a third and long play. Kitna stands in, throws downfield, has a guy. A beautifully executed play. Chad Johnson beats the defense, and on 3rd and 14, the Bengals hit their first big play, a 23-yard gain.
Well, it's no surprise that when the offense has done something good early in the game, it has been Chad Johnson that's done it. This guy is a hard worker. He wants to be good. Don, it sounds like obvious, but that's not the case with everybody. He is doing the little things, working hard, learning this game, talking to his quarterbacks. Every small thing you can do, a la Jerry Rice, he's trying to do it to get better. He wants to be great, and that's a big step for a young receiver.
Well, he had a great second season a year ago. And now to reverse. Peter Warwick is on the run, putting on moves, and Warwick dances all the way down to the 22-yard line. So the turnover, the interception of the tip ball by the Bengals apparently has ignited this offense as they get on consecutive plays, 23 yards on the pass, and now 13 yards on Warwick's run.
And as the Bengals are starting to have some success here, the thing I noticed, Don, it's fast. Every play comes now. They're in, they're out of the huddle. They have a plan. They're getting the football to different guys. And you see there, that's what I was talking about with Warwick. He made that huge stop to try and make that cut, and the pursuit caught up to him. Don't stop to make a cut, just run.
Al Wilson ran him down, but now the Bengals mounting a challenge. Down 10-0. Dillon turning wide. And he turns the corner, but the Broncos continue to do excellent work defending this runner.
Well, the Broncos have such good linebackers, Don. Those guys can run. They are fast. But the problem is, once you get there, you've got that guy to tackle. Corey Dillon is not an easy guy to tackle. You need some help sometimes, and he is fast. He is very slippery. You can say what you want. He does not move side to side, but it seems like when guys try to tackle him, they slide from his shoulder pads to his ankles very quickly, and he gets out of it. I've never seen anybody break more tackles than Corey Dillon.
And he loves to take on tacklers. As he told us, his straight-ahead runs are what he likes. Here's a timing throw and a connection. This is Peter Warrick putting on a dancing move, and Warrick dives down to the 5-yard line. He has a gain of 15 yards and a first down.
Well, here's something you have not seen the Bengals do in a long, long time, Don. Respond. They've been pushed around for a quarter and a half, and now they're putting something together that makes them feel like they've got a chance, and they're in this football game. They're spreading it around. They're doing some positive things. Kitten is finally finding some receivers, and he's getting time to throw it. And that's what Marvin Lewis desperately wanted to see. He wanted to see his guys overcome adversity, and they're in the midst of it.
Well, that interception kind of turned the momentum of this game, or more than kind of turned it. Now, can they take it in? Here's Kittner rolling out, makes the throw, and a connection down to the 3-yard line to Warrick. So a lot of play calling there, a lot of execution involved in a low-thrown ball, but it does advance the ball about 4 yards. And they're going to have second and goal from the 3.
You know, a moment ago when the Broncos were at the other end of the field going in, you and I both discussed, and I told you, a great team in the red area is able to run the football. Now, the Bengals have thrown it twice and done some reverses. We'll see what they do now when the chips are down inside the 5.
Second and goal. Run it they do. This is Dillon, and again, the Broncos slam the door on Corey Dillon, the man who embarrassed him 3 years ago, doing virtually nothing today running the ball.
That's Bertrand Berry knifing right through, blowing up that play, and that's the key thing in the goal line, Don. If you want to stop the run, get in their backfield. And once again, the defensive line of the Broncos is doing an outstanding job. On surefire rundowns, they're getting into the backfield. On surefire pass downs, they're chasing Kitten all over the yard.
Well, so far, Dillon has run the ball 10 times, averaging 2.4 yards a carry. The last time they played, he averaged 12.6 yards a carry. This is a big down. Third down. Kittner, calling his own number, fumbles the ball. It's recovered by a teammate at the 3-yard line. Kittner, they say the problem with him handling the ball is he has small hands. But he fumbles the ball. That's been a very big problem during his career. A lot of fumbling.
And that was a broken play. John Kittner had no option. He didn't know what he was going to do with the football. He turned around and expected somebody to be there to hand it to, and they weren't. And watch there. You know, that's a great sideline shot, because you know what? It shows everybody on the team is into it. The guys sitting there getting drinks of water. Everybody's into it. They're all in it together.
But now let's see if they can hit the field goal. Snap and set down are good, and so is the kick. But there is a penalty marker down.
Prior to the snap, false start, 65 offense, 5 yards.
Eric Steinbach, the rookie left guard, is called for a false start.
Don, we mentioned it earlier. The last preseason game that Marvin Lewis and the Cincinnati Bengals played was in Indianapolis, and it was an absolute fiasco for their field goal team.
Yeah, they really had trouble just holding the snap.
They couldn't get the ball down, and it was awful.
The snaps are all good. Brad St. Louis is one of the best. It's Harris who had the problem. He said he's going to wear gloves today. He's got them on. Again, they get the snap and set down. And the second try, the first was a warm-up, apparently, is now a 26-yarder that's good. So in a sense, a victory for the Bronco defense. They kept him out of the end zone on a first and goal from inside the 6. But it is a field goal for the Bengals. The Bengals get a field goal from 26 yards out, and they now are on the board, trailing the Broncos 10-3. Chris Cole is now back deep. A skimming kick that Cole will take at the goal line. He's across the 20, an open gap, and Cole is all the way out to the 33-yard line. So it's going to be 1st and 10 there for the Denver Broncos. Fridays this fall on CBS, when FBI agents go undercover, the handler is the man who trains them, creates their identities, and controls their every move. Joe Pantoliano stars in The Handler. Series premiere is Friday, September 26th, here on CBS. One of the Sopranos. Joe Pantoliano.
Looks like he's got his head on straight.
Sopranos, you can lose your head. Not figuratively. Literally. Here's a throw downfield up Shannon Sharp. What a beautifully thrown ball by Plummer. as they come right out, gunning the ball downfield. A 22-yard gain to the greatest receiving tight end in football history.
Right up the inside of the numbers. He looks at the safety. You saw his eyes way down the field, and wherever that safety, that's Manuel, wherever he is, if he's outside, he'll break to the inside. If he's inside, he'll hook up or break to the outside. And both the quarterback and the receiver see the same thing, and Shannon Sharp's been doing that for an awfully long time. He may be the best guy to ever play his position, Don. He certainly is in the modern era.
Well, 754 career receptions, almost 100 more than the next tight end, Ozzie Newsome. Here is Jake running, and Jake does the right thing and scampers out of bounds. He got a couple of yards. But that's all part of this tightly knit, well-controlled game plan. It's just nothing's out there, and you're rolling out, get out of bounds. Don't throw the ball.
One of the things that gets lost in this, Don, Jake Plummer went out there, and he did all right. I mean, he got a yard or two. His offensive linemen love him for that, because the rule says if the quarterback goes out of bounds and runs out even a foot behind the line of scrimmage, it's a sack. And his offensive linemen are trying not to give up sacks.
Yeah.
They love a quarter. Just get an inch. Just do something. And Jake Plummer did that. You saw him leap forward for that extra yard. Believe me, his offensive linemen will love him if he does that all year.
Well, one of the big things Jake has going for him is that this team has embraced him. He's a team guy. They liken him to Elway that way. John Elway, they said, loved to be around the training center, loved to be around the guys, and players all responded to him on the field, and they think hopefully that's going to happen with Jake. So far, so good for the Broncos on opening day. We're back. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker. 2 minutes to play in the first half. Denver leading the Bengals 10-3. Talked about John Elway. There'll be a great announcement for Elway and his many fans. I think it's on February 3rd, the day before the next Super Bowl in Houston, when he'll be announced as a first ballot Pro Football Hall of Famer. And joining him will be Barry Sanders as a first ballot Hall of Famer. As we come into the final 2 minutes of the first half.
You know, and it's still at the point, Don, where you see the Denver Broncos, you do think of John Elway, and there you see Jake Plummer, and he will be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I got to congratulate you. My guy, Don Criqui, the winner of the Pete Rozelle Broadcast Excellence in the NFL, had them enthralled in Canton this year. You did a great job. Congratulations. What an honor.
Thank you very much, Steve. It was a great honor to get the Rozelle Award at the Hall of Fame. And now a diving run by Rod Smith as he gets down to the 31-yard line. Not be going overboard in the Hall of Fame, but you were I guess a finalist last year.
Well, I was
as a first-year eligible.
Well, I'm not John Elway, believe me. I'm not a slam.
Well, there's nobody else is John Elway.
There's only one of him, and I think Denver fans are finding that out finally. But
that's like they talk about Michael Vick might be the next John Elway. Hey, be great, not good, great for 12 years, and we'll start talking about it.
That's right.
Handoff to Portis. Look at this. Clinton Portis busting open the Bengal defense and taking it inside the 10-yard line. How about the Bills leading the Patriots 21-0? Kansas City routing San Diego.
Don, when Clinton Portis gets this handoff and sees where he wants to go, it's over. You said once again, the safety coming up to make the play just can't get there. That's why the Bengals defense is not what it could be, because there are guys that just aren't in position to make the tackle. The first guy to the ball doesn't make the tackle. In fact, Clinton Portis makes him miss completely.
Oh, this Portis is just tremendous, but he's so in sync with his blockers, and now Portis heading into the end zone for a second time. So the Bengals get a field goal, but very quickly, the Broncos with all their precision. What line blocking. This team is so well coached.
Don, Mike Shanahan does everything right. Now, sometimes, like last year, you get off to a good start and it doesn't work out. But it's his belief, and I agree with him, when you do everything right to the best of your abilities, sooner or later it's going to pay off. And in games like this, when you're on the road on opening day, you get a bunch of guys, your team's completely healthy, it does show up.
The extra point hit up, and as always, good when it's off the foot of Jason Elam. And so the Broncos build their lead. They'll be coming back with their kickoff in a moment. Dan, Dion, and Boomer for all of today's scores and highlights, plus a preview of the U.S. Men's Open Final between Andy Roddick and Juan Carlos Ferrero. That's all coming up on the Nextel halftime report. Well, Clinton Portis today has run the ball 12 times for 85 yards and 2 touchdowns, 7 yards a carry. His counterpart, Corey Dillon, 10 carries, 24 yards. Right now, Dillon is not a big option in the offense. They've got to throw the ball and try to get back in this.
Yeah, with 1:13 left in the half, you've got to take some chances if you're Cincinnati to get back in the game.
The kickoff comes down to Brandon Bennett. 20. And he gets out to the 26-yard line. A ball on the field, and the Broncos have it. That might be Herndon again that got in there. He's checking those guys off the bottom of the pile. That's 57 getting up. Ja'Shawn Sykes. Marvin Lewis can't be happy with this.
With all the good things that have happened in the offseason for the Bengals, now reality is going to set in, and you think it is really difficult to win games in the National Football League, and that ball was out immediately. And I think Sykes caused the fumble as well as recovering it. He was the second guy in on the tackle and then picked it up.
Now, Steve, you have to worry about the psyche of the Bengals. I mean, are they just going to come apart?
Well, we said it in the open, Don. This is a team that's fragile. Yeah, they're doing things different. Now they're getting feedback from guys who have been in the playoffs. Marvin Lewis brought in a number of guys who have been in the Super Bowl, who've been in the playoffs, who've been in winning organizations, and they're telling these players on the Bengals who've been there that this is the way it's done now in the NFL, and they're teaching them how to win. But you know what? Teaching them and learning it are two different things.
Well, Jerry Austin's going to check it. It's under review now. As you know, most calls are not overturned because there has to be indisputable evidence that the call on the field was wrong. Ball is out. Is his knee down?
I don't think so.
Get some great looks here.
Ruben Drones is the first guy in there. Watch here. Right there. Watch as he blows up the back, pushes him back, and then spies the receiver or the return man, gets inside into the hole, and right there, helmet on football, right in the hole.
They won't overturn it. It'll be Broncos ball.
Fumble as ruled on the field.
Yeah, that was clearly.
Yeah, they got it right.
Well, I guess you had to take a chance if you're the Bengals and hope something would happen where you'd keep the ball. So Mike Shanahan has his team really humming now.
Yeah, you got it. It's inside 2 minutes, and so it's reviewed from upstairs, and it was the right call. They got it right the first time.
They go in up 24-3. The Bengals are probably gone for this day. Here is a reverse again. They've been doing this all day, and now they get it to Rod Smith cutting back. Poor tackling, or is it great running by Rod Smith, who's not done till he's inside the 25-yard line. And now they're just openly booing the Bengals effort.
Don, you can see it. This is how fragile the optimism is here in Cincinnati. And that's a good play call. Rod Smith was going to throw that deep. A reverse pass to the wide receiver is a perfect call in that situation, because you want to get the touchdown, you want to put the nail in the coffin, you want to go in with a huge lead, and that's exactly what we said earlier on this game. The Broncos wanted to come out and punch the Bengals in the mouth, figuratively speaking, and make them quit. And it looks like at this point, with 54 seconds, they're on the verge of doing it.
I'll tell you one thing, the Broncos, this is a good-looking football team.
Well, this is a team that started out 6-2 last year, had like one of the top offenses in the league. Their defense was number 6 overall, and they didn't go to the playoffs. And they got a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, Wilson said everybody looks for reasons. We lost our focus. It's the only thing he can put it down. He said in this summer camp, he said we were really hard on each other. It's a very motivated team. Again, an open backfield for Jake Plummer on 2nd down and 4. Jake's on the run. And he is down to the 21-yard line. Might have gotten a couple. Taken down by Artrell Hawkins.
And the Broncos will take a quick timeout. It's a smart move.
So there's going to be a timeout on the field. 44 seconds to go in the first half. And Mike Shanahan and his Broncos now looking to put a knockout punch on perhaps. Just 44 seconds to play in the half. 3rd down and just over a yard coming up. Only thing Denver doesn't have a lot of left is timeouts. They're out of timeouts in the half. Jake Plummer now with Portis in his backfield. Needing just over a yard. Here's a blitz. Portis runs. He's got the yard. He's got more. And he's not done till he's to the 15-yard line. But they have to go into alignment quickly with no timeouts.
There's 34 seconds left. And this is something you work on during training camp, at the end of training camp, you get in some specific plays. You'll call plays in the line or call 2 plays in the huddle.
Watch for a pass to him. He spikes the ball. Good move by Jake Plummer, as he downs the ball, that's one way you can get a stoppage of the clock with 25 seconds left to play. And in the NFL, it's amazing how many plays these guys can work with 25 seconds.
Yeah, well, Don, you and I were talking during the break that today, and it's become obvious, the Bengals have done some good things. They came out, it's opening day. They're a different team. They have a different attitude, but they met a better football team today. The Denver Broncos in every phase, the offensive line, their defensive backfield, and certainly Jake Plummer have outplayed him in this first half, and it shows.
Every aspect, and they've shut down Corey Dillon, the back who embarrassed them so badly when they played last 3 years ago on this field. Plummer, pump faking, takes a look, end zone ball, and it's overthrown. And that leaves the game clock at 19 seconds. I should amplify some, Steve, on the talk about John Elway in the Hall of Fame. There's nothing been announced yet. That's my opinion. What do you think the chances are I'm wrong? That it'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Let me just climb out on that limb with you. John Elway.
Out of saw.
Yeah. John Elway is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, and he deserves to be. I mean, he was as good as I have ever seen, and he deserves it. And the Denver fans and the Denver organization should be very proud of him.
The whole league is. Here's Jake Plummer making a throw in the flat, beautifully executed, a timing throw to Rod Smith, who turns out on his former teammate Torrey James and gets the ball down close with 15 seconds left to play.
Yeah, now they're going to send out the field goal unit, and that was one of those plays they wanted to stop the clock, and maybe if Rod Smith could break a tackle and get up the sidelines and get in, that's fine. But now it's a chip shot for Jason Elam, who is as good as there's ever been, and it's automatic if I may jinx him on this kick.
A 27-yard field goal try by Elam. Right down the middle, but good enough. And lead builds for the Mike Shanahan and his Broncos. They're up 20-3 now. And the first half is almost out. Tuesdays this fall on CBS, they're a team of special agents whose mission is to investigate crimes in the military. Mark Harmon stars in Navy NC. Dad Tom Harmon, Heisman Trophy winner from Michigan.
Marvin Lewis, you have to wonder right now, Don, what's Marvin Lewis going to say to his club at halftime, down 17 points in his first game as head coach? You see there.
I'm going to say we got to do something about Clinton Portis, Steve. He's run the ball 13 times for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Clinton Portis, they got to do something about Rod Smith. They got to do something about Jake Plummer.
I don't know how you can stop Portis. These blocking angles, these offensive linemen that the Broncos have. No matter whether they go with stunts and everything else, they get an angle on the pursuer.
And the thing you forget, Clinton Portis makes these great runs, he breaks tackles, he finds holes, but the thing you forget about him, he's explosive through the hole. When he gets into the secondary, he gets there very fast, and if the linebackers aren't exactly there, it's a big game.
Here's the kickoff, hit downfield by Noor, down to the 3-yard line, a bobbled ball by Brandon Bennett. I'll tell you one thing, they got some good-looking special teams on the Broncos also as they converge on the ball.
And the Bengals are finding out that when you get a good football team and you're playing, and when you're down by 17, the other team wants you down by 24, and then they want you down by 30.
By 100 if they can.
That's right.
Coming down to make the play was Nick Ferguson. There is Clinton Portis. What a back he is, and he's like your former teammate on the Bills, Thurman Thomas. Thurman said every time he played, he was motivated because he was drafted in the 2nd round. That somebody that he played that day
passed him up,
and that's what Clinton feels. That's going to be it for the end of the first half with the score: Denver 20 and Cincinnati 3. So Clinton Portis had a day already, 90 yards in the first half and 2 touchdowns. And what do the Bengals do now, Steve, to try to get untracked?
This is exactly the thing that Marvin Lewis didn't want to happen. He did not want to get down by 17 points in the first half and have to go into halftime and try and dig out some positive aspects out of a half where there was very little to be happy about. His team has got to hang together. Good teams do this automatically. They go in, they say, hey, we're going to come out, we're going to battle, we're going to fight till the end. Cincinnati, it's been so long since they've been a good team, you don't know whether they're going to be able to respond.
We'll be back with the Nextel halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
This
the Bengals have. They're capitalizing on. And the Broncos get the ball to start the third quarter as the spinning kickoff is hit downfield. Coming up on the ball is Chris Cole. Kickoff coverage has been a problem for the Bengals, but this time they have him, and now they don't have him. He's not done till he's to the 30-yard line, so what looked like it was going to be a 10-yard return turns out to be a return of about 30 yards. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker. It's interesting mathematically, Steve, teams that win on opening day are more than twice as likely to make the playoffs as teams that lose.
Well, when you come out on opening day, it all boils down to how prepared are you. When you can get prepared to play on an opening day, when you know the opponent so well, it's an indicator of how well you can prepare the rest of the season. That's what it's all about, Don. If you can prepare week to week better than your opponents, you're going to win more. And opening day is an indicator.
Well, this Bronco team is so well prepared. Here is a handoff, and they come hammering. We look at the offensive leaders of the Broncos in the first half.
There's really not any surprises, Don. I mean, it's Jake Plummer, who was 7 for 13.
Somebody blew a hole in that football, Steve.
That's right. And
Might have been Clinton Portis busting through it.
Portis, yeah, he's gripping it too tight. And then Rod Smith. Those are the three guys. And if you're the Bengals, what three guys would you like to stop before the game starts? Well, it's Rod Smith, Clinton Portis, and Jake Plummer, and they haven't got it done.
Let's see what the Broncos go to open now the third quarter from scrimmage. Play fake. Sidearm throw, and that's a good read as they go to Portis. Jake Plummer looking downfield. Didn't see what he wanted deep, so he takes the secondary receiver, and Portis is ahead for a gain of 9 yards.
One of the things I think that Jake Plummer's finding that is really a relief to a guy like him is having a Clinton Portis or a Shannon Sharp. Somebody is always there available to him, so when he starts to have trouble in the pocket or have to sidestep somebody, there's always an option. He didn't always have an option in years past, but on this team, not only does he have options, he's got Pro Bowl options.
Well, he's got a 3rd and 1 right now, and he takes it himself. Jake Plummer puts his head down at 6'2", 212. Plummer, as we mentioned, said in the offseason, I've yet to prove myself a consistent winner, but it's quite apparent that he has never had the coaching he's getting from Mike Shanahan and Gary Kubiak. Kubiak, the offensive coordinator, an integral part of the success story at Denver, his 9th year as the offensive coordinator. He's been a finalist, Gary Kubiak, for 3 head coaching jobs with the Browns, the Saints, and the Texans.
One of the things about Mike Shanahan, you thought he was going to fall into the same trap some coaches do, bring a guy in, he can change him, but he didn't want to change Jake Plummer. He knew Jake Plummer had what it took, and he could work in this offense.
Now they drop back. Plummer throws up the middle of the field and comes in high at Dwayne Carswell, who's very much a secondary receiver. But he was wide open. Nobody was covering him.
That was on Jake Plummer. That was a bad throw. And watch as he lets this go. And if you stay with him, watch what happens. He knows that's on him. That was a bad missed throw on his part. He missed Carswell, and he was wide open. That's really, he has had some incompletions, but that's really the first really bad throw I've seen him make.
See his numbers for the day. The 1 interception was on a tip ball, and it led to the only score of the day for the Bengals. They went down the field and kicked a field goal after having 1st and goal inside the 6. Plummer makes a throw, and it comes in low, and it looks like Rod Smith got it. Beautifully done. What a success story Rod Smith is. In his 9th year out of Missouri Southern, a free agent. His first year with the Broncos in '94, he was on the practice squad.
That's unbelievable. That's just a story, and there's so many guys on this field today who just hung in there and kept their careers alive. Rod Smith, a guy who was just another rookie free agent, and all of a sudden he's a guy that a lot of teams wish they had, and that's a testament to what Rod Smith has from his neck up. He's a sharp guy and dedicated.
He is. Now there's a delay of game, it looks like. A penalty marker thrown.
I think the Bengals are going to challenge that last catch. It looked like it might have skipped on the ground just before he caught it, and we'll see.
Rod Smith, we were talking about, had 89 catches a year ago.
Cincinnati is challenging the call on the field of a completed pass.
And he has the Bronco record for touchdowns, 49 touchdowns during his career. So while the play is being challenged, Marvin Lewis saying it was bobbled. We'll pause for this word. Still reviewing. So we'll take a look at what he's looking at, and this is probably the definitive one. Looks like he has his hand under it and has to, of course, be ruling on the field was a catch. So
right.
I guess here is it will not be overturned. It'll be a first down.
From this angle, it looks like he catches it. His hand's underneath the ball, even though his hand's on the ground. I think it's underneath the football. But doesn't really matter what you and I think, I guess, the truth be told.
But it has to clearly show he bobbled it usually. Because
much to my chagrin, we have no say in the matter.
Well, here comes Jerry Austin out. A good second look. He got a good look at it. Our producer today for CBS is Victor Frank. Our director, Craig Silver. The executive producers of the NFL on CBS.
After reviewing the play, as the ball comes into the receiver, he gets both hands under it. As he turns, he loses control of the ball, and it touches the ground. Therefore, it's incomplete.
Incomplete. All right. Including thanks to our production team, our executive producers are Sean McManus and Tony Petiti. So Mike Shanahan sees for the first time something go a little bit wrong today.
Yeah, that's you and I. We argued about it. There's some people up here, we watch it, and some people. That's a 50-50 proposition. I think it's a good idea for the Bengals to roll the dice there because it was close and it happened right in front of their bench, and it went their way. Very unusual, though, Don. It's not. You don't see those overturned very often.
No, it has to be, well, clearly an indicator that the call on the field was incorrect, and so that's what Austin ruled after looking at it. So it's now third down coming up. Route kicks in, 3rd and 10, the ball on the 43-yard line of the Broncos. Jake Plummer dumps it over the middle. Clinton Portis hammered, driving. He is taken down short of a first down. Knocked out at the 50. He needed to get to the 47, a 7-yard gain. Justin Smith, who was the sack leader last year with 6.5 for Cincinnati.
That was a nice defensive series for the Bengals, forcing them to punt it away. It was only gained 20 yards, just short of 2 first downs, and they're going to get the football back. That's what the Bengals needed, was to get the offense of the Broncos off the field for a change.
Peter Warrick, ever dangerous, is back inside the 10. On his hit high, it'll be tough to feel. Warrick's going to let it hop. It takes a big roll. Down to the 6-yard line. So Warrick could have fielded that. He didn't signal care catch. He just waved off like don't get near the ball, but he did not have his hand up. That's the concern about him as a punt returner. We're back as the Bronco offense goes to the sideline, and the Bengals come out now with John Kitna at quarterback, 1st and 10, but deep in their own end after Warrick let the punt roll and it was downed. Good special teams play by Denver. Kitna standing in, dumps it over the middle, and another incompletion. And the impatience of this sold-out stadium with the inept offense of the Bengals continues to build.
And here's the leaders, if you call them as 65 yards and an interception for John Kitna. Corey Dillon, I've seen him start out like that in games and end up with way over 100 yards as well, Don, so you still have to continue to watch Corey Dillon. But John Kitna, this is the one thing I think Marvin Lewis did not want to see. He does not need the fans and the public opinion to start hollering and rooting for Carson Palmer to be the quarterback.
No, but there's nothing he can do about it. It's going to happen unless he moves the team. And now Dillon runs, who had only 24 yards up to that carry. He got about 3 there. And there is Palmer, 6'5", 230 pounds. And as Kitna told us, we asked him, what do you think of Palmer? He said, I can't believe a rookie quarterback can have the ability he has.
Well, today's the 3rd quarterback for the Bengals, so even if he does come in, it won't be until very late in the 4th quarter. And you see there, standing next to him, is Shane Matthews, who is a veteran, just the kind of guy you want as a 2nd-string quarterback in the NFL. A lot of experience and has been a starter at some point in his career.
3rd down comes up. 3rd down and 7 as Kitna goes on the shotgun. Here comes the heat. Kitna throws it intercepted, and it's run in for a touchdown. Ian Gold takes it in. And at this point, you got to start thinking about a backup because John Kitna is awful.
That was a bad decision by John Kitna. He was going to get sacked and tried to make something happen in desperation, and it blew up. And you can see some of the Cincinnati Bengals players as they walk off, they are just disgusted.
Boy, you're not giving your team a chance when you do something this stupid.
This is an incredibly bad play. You see there as Trevor Price grabs Kitna in the backfield. He tries to make something happen right into the arms of Ian Gold.
A happy guy, Ian Gold, fourth-year backer from Michigan. Kitten talked about all the speed in the Denver defense, and he said it's built around super fast linebackers. Well, it was just illustrated there as the Broncos roll on to a 27-3 lead. Getting back there's Ian Gold, who just scored the touchdown on the interception. And Marvin Lewis's remarks, Steve, about teams and players are judged by their ability to handle adversity. Well, his Bengals overwhelmed by adversity on this opening day 2003 as Brandon Bennett runs it back. Gets to the 25-yard line, and he is taken down by Donnie Spragan. Here's a room service interception for a score.
Oh, this is, yeah, exactly right. Trevor Price causes the play, gets his hand on Kitten. It causes him to panic, and he gets flat. He sees a flash right there. Corey Dillon, he can't get him the football, and Ian Gold just walks into the end zone, and that's a team that is playing desperate, and it's just not coming. That's backyard football, and you can't play backyard football in the NFL and expect to win.
Ian Gold got the touchdown there, Steve, but it was Trevor Price who really set the whole thing up. He had the heat and the graphs, and John Kitna. Now Kitna rolling out, makes the throw, and a poor one.
And it's going from bad to worse, Don, for John Kitna.
He's not ready to play against a defense this coordinated.
Well, he's not getting much help. I mean, Marvin Lewis is going to go back and he's going to look at the game film of this game, and he's going to realize two things. They were 2-14 last year, and he's going to have to get more good players to do anything more than 2-14 this year. Now, that guy right there is a start, but they do not want to throw him in there and have him end up like David Klingler and Akili Smith. They've been down that road before.
Yeah, they have. That's right. Akili Smith was the third player picked in the whole draft. He was a total bust. Kitna has thrown 16 passes, completed 7 for 65 yards. No touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and now they get some running room. On a second down and 10 carry, they're ahead to about the 35-yard line.
And that's about as good a...
Corey Dillon's probably best of the day.
That's as good a run as they've had all day. You're right, Don. There you're looking at the defensive line, and this is a time when the defense of the Broncos are just foaming at the mouth. They cannot wait for the ball to be snapped. They want more of this. They want more shots at Corey Dillon. They want more shots at John Kitna. They want to force turnovers. This is a game that they can't get enough of right now.
They're down. Here's a blitz. Kitna's in trouble. They get him back inside the 30. Bertrand Berry, a sixth-year player from Notre Dame, gets his second sack of the day. He almost had 3. Came to the Broncos as a free agent, waived by the Indianapolis Colts. And right now, the offensive line of the Cincinnati Bengals absolutely can do nothing with this coordinated pass rush.
Bertrand Berry, a guy who's out of football in the year 2000 and now starting for the Denver Broncos. And Mike Shanahan continues to find players that can help him. And John Kitna is looking for some help right now.
The punt by the Bengals, hit downfield by Harris. Delta O'Neal is back, pedaling to his 22. Turns the corner, and he's down at about the 27-yard line. Tackled by Kevin Casefaharn. So after a 52-yard punt, a 6-yard return, it's the Broncos' ball when we come back.
You want to be.
To Cincinnati, where the Broncos now have the ball at their 28-yard line. As you look at the score, 27-3. The quarterback trust of the Bengals, Kitna, Palmer, Matthews. Not a lot of conversation for poor John Kitna, who's been overrun a lot by the pass rush, and now the throw, and this defense isn't quick. Is coming over, making a hard strike as the middle backer, Kevin Hardy.
You know, Don, the reason that the Broncos are playing as well as they are and looking as good both offensively and defensively is it starts with the guys up front. The offensive line of the Broncos is one of the most athletic in the National Football League. They're not prototypical, if you want to call it that, offensive linemen. These guys are more athletic than most teams have. They're able to move laterally much better than most offensive lines are. They're much better at getting into the second level of the front 7 and finding Clinton Portis more room to run.
Second down and 8. Clinton Portis has found room for himself a lot of times.
Not that time.
Oh, no, that time they filled the gap. But the Broncos now the luxury, Steve, of being in a clock control offense as there's 7:50 to play in the third quarter. commanding lead.
And this is when you need a Clinton Portis. And this is when you need that offensive line. And this is an offensive line, I think, Don, that's better when they run at the tackles, not inside the guards, but at the tackles. The offensive line runs so well, they are able to get outside and leverage block where other teams cannot, and that's why Clinton Portis can cut up the field and find room.
Jake stands in. There's the throw and a catch. Beautifully executed as he gets the ball to Rod Smith for a first down on 3rd down and 8. 11-yard gain. That offensive line of Salam, Hamilton, Nalen, Neal, and Lepsis. Terrific.
Watch here as Rod Smith comes out. He'll stop, come right back out. You see the defender that was guarding him is inside, so he moves away from that's Mark Roman, the safety, coming down inside to grab him. And instead of crossing it, going all the way across the field, he pivots back out and has great leverage for Jake Plummer to find him. And that's just great reading by the receiver and a great shot by Jake Plummer.
And Jake under control, 10 of 18 completions, 99 yards, the 1 interception on the tip ball. Back to Portis, head down. Tough guy taking on big defensive lineman.
Lost his helmet there. And I think, Don, this is almost the point where you see Dan Neal getting in a little shoving match with the defensive lineman of the Bengals. This is the point where one of those games where Clinton Portis may have 35 carries. I mean, this is a thing where you want him to carry this team. He doesn't. He's not a fumbler. He's a very safe running back to give the football to. Let Jake Plummer throw a 5-yard pass for a first down. And that's what this offense is all about for the Broncos. Keep control of the football. You can't get beat if you've got the ball the whole game.
And they're doing exactly that as they go back to the run. And Portis taking out tacklers. The Bengals striking hard, though. They're coming up and putting hits on him. Rogers Beckett, a former Charger, hits him. Chargers getting blown out today at Kansas City. And next week the Broncos will be at San Diego. Then the Broncos come home for their home opener against who else? The Raiders. That's always fun. I'll tell you one thing. The Broncos last year got up to a 6-2 start, finished 9-7, and missed the playoffs for a 2nd straight year.
That's amazing.
They aren't going to go into a tailspin this year, I don't think.
No.
I think the motivation on this team is that it's palpable when you're around them. These guys are
full professional athletes, not just good football players, and that's the difference.
Throw and a catch. More good work. They get the ball downfield. A big Dwayne Carswell, the blocking tight end. They don't go to him often, but this time they get 11 yards out of the connection.
You have to look at this Cincinnati Bengals team. I think next week will be a huge test for them. And how are they going to show up not only on Sunday at game day, but how are they going to show up Wednesday when Marvin Lewis starts to install his 2nd game plan? Are they going to accept it? Are they going to be there with a good attitude? Are they going to continue to work hard? Is he going to be able to keep them on board with him? Because if they start to jump off, this team will tailspin like it has for 12 years.
Well, if the tail spins off of one bad game, I mean, they're not professionals. Here's a long ball by Jake Plummer. He's got a guy, and the interception is made inside the 5-yard line. And it's a live ball. His rule is not down as the ball is taken back. And so the ex-Bronco Torrey James makes the kick and returns it 27 yards.
I don't blame Jake Plummer for this interception, Don. He throws this up for grabs, and that's Ashley Lally, has got to make a play on it. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Torrey James looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to make a play on that if you're the wide receiver. Ashley Lally's a young receiver, and he's got to help his quarterback. He's got to pick that football up and make sure that Torrey James can't get it. And that's a young receiver who just hasn't learned what his job is yet. Forget about catching the ball. You keep that guy right there from catching it.
Well, there's the other cornerback for the Cincinnati Bengals, Jeff Burris, was saying what a joy it is to be on the same team with Torrey James. Just a great individual, a great player. And, of course, started on a Super Bowl winning team for the Broncos as Dillon now runs, and there's a penalty marker down. There are Burris and James.
You know, those two guys there as they sit there, and Jeff Burris, a #1 draft pick for Buffalo back in '94. Torrey James, who, of course, was, as you mentioned, on a playoff team, a good team with the Raiders last year and like 2 years before that. Those two guys remember what it's like to win, and they can see down the road perhaps at the light at the end of the tunnel.
On the defense, 15 yards, automatic first down.
Here, as I was talking over, that's a 15-yard face mask on that run by Corey Dillon. You hate to see that.
Well, Corey, I'll tell you one thing about Corey Dillon. You talk about tough people as far as physically tough. He's got to be on page 1 of that book.
This is a guy that,
a lot. If you talk to him, he just can't wait to run at people.
He just wants the football.
Great player. He's a Hall of Fame player in the making.
You are right.
One of 4 players in history to gain over 1,000 yards his first 6 years in the league. As the throw is made, they go to an unlikely target, Jeremy Johnson, the rookie fullback from Western Kentucky. So they go deeper into the playbook now, does Bob Bratkowski, and try to open some things up.
Well, one of the problems, John Kitna has struggled so badly. One of the reasons is that the Denver front 4 is absolutely dominating the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line. They've got plays called now. If you'll notice, John Kitna is getting rid of the football as soon as he drops back. There's no more of that. And Bob Bratkowski's smart enough to know his offensive line's getting manhandled. He's got to get the ball out of John Kitna's hands as fast as he can.
Has to be quicker drops. He's going to 3-step drops. 1, 2, 3. Heel hits and the ball's away in a short pattern. 1, 2, 3. Now he gets a little more time. Makes the throw over the middle. And the carry after the catch by Corey Dillon is good for the first down.
And this is some of the things that have happened, Don, for John Kitna. And you'll see every time something happens, he's either running for his life like he is there, running for his life like he is there, away from pressure or for the interception. And then on this one where he's got Trevor Price hanging on him and he tries to make something happen. He has been under duress all day, and that's the story. The front 4 of the Broncos has made life miserable for John Kitna.
Now he hands off, and Dillon is caught behind the line of scrimmage. Coming in to get him is Ian Gold, the touchdown maker. But really, you can't credit Trevor Price enough for that touchdown, because he had Kitna in the grass, was twisting to the ground when he just threw the ball away, trying to make something happen. We made something happen.
Ian Gold had never had an interception up to that point, and he gets one for a touchdown, and Trevor Price literally almost took it away from John Kitna and handed it to him on the way by. I mean, that was absolutely picture perfect. Room service, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't get easier than that.
Now second down arises. Bengals need 14. Here comes the rush. That's Price, and Kitna does well to get outside the tackle box. And he is just beating Willie Anderson.
Trevor Price had more trouble running wind sprints in training camp than he is having running by the offensive line of the Bengals.
Actually, this time he comes inside, and he's beating the rookie guard, Eric Steinbach.
It's like he's playing against air. I mean, Trevor Price is all over the football field today for the Broncos. This is a guy that has had 4 seasons where he's had 7 sacks or more. He is
got 41 sacks in the last 4 years, and 3 of the seasons were as a defensive tackle. Kitna gets some time, throws to an open receiver. This is Brandon Bennett inside the 40-yard line on 3rd down and 14. They punt here. They're sending the wrong message.
I agree. Well, they went for it on 4th and 11 earlier in the game in the first half. You got to go for it now. You can't punt this back to the Broncos the way they're playing offense. Give your offense a chance to gain a little self-respect. Now they've got their starting right tackle, Willie Anderson, limping off the field.
Well, so Trevor Price, but you're talking about Trevor, Steve, and when he walks into a room, immediately you say to yourself, there's a guy I want on my team. That's a fine-looking attack defensive end. Here is a handoff, and not much happening as they go to a draw play on 4th down, really. The Marvin Lewis era is starting off badly. Last year, the Bengals were embarrassed on opening day on this field by San Diego. Just as bad opening day of 2003.
For fantasy news and information, including daily player updates and custom highlights of your personal fantasy team. Sign up now for NFL Fantasy Games and NFL Fantasy Extra, only at NFL.com.
Joe Renato, FBI. When a case hits a dead end, I'm the guy they call. I set up undercover operations. I'm like a director.
So you ever work LA before? I need a fresh face.
I set up storylines, create identities.
What role do I play?
And for the lowlives we're after, it's going to be an unhappy ending.
The Handler, CBS Friday, September 26th.
We're back on opening day 2003 in Cincinnati. Marvin Lewis debut as a head coach in the NFL. A lot of optimism coming in, but so far nothing good happening. The Broncos have been the dominant team, and again they go to the reverse. Worked every time, works again to Ashley Lilly. Penalty marker is thrown. Sharp's jumping up and down. He might have been called for an illegal block.
I think that Shannon Sharp knows what that flag was thrown for. Now you look at this Bengals team, Don, and Marvin Lewis for so many years wanted to be a head coach, yearned to be a head coach.
Offense, 10 yards, repeat first down.
And you called it, Don. Shannon Sharp gets called, but Marvin Lewis was a leading candidate for so many years to be a head coach, and he's learning a painful lesson today in Cincinnati that you better watch what you ask for because you just might get it.
Yeah, well, it's a long way to go, and you know, we were talking to some of the coaches yesterday, and they're saying, you know, we talked about how there's twice as great a chance if you win opening day, you'll make the playoffs. Well, how about the Tennessee Titans? They went 1-4 to start the season. If you look at the Lewis log, he was assistant head coach and D coordinator for Spurrier and the Redskins last year.
For those of you who don't know, that's a spotless resume.
And the Tennessee Titans, after the 1-4 start, ended up a game from the Super Bowl, went to the AFC Championship game. Quarterback ratings today, what do you think they are, Steve?
I'm going to say that Jake Plummer is just a hair ahead of John Kitna.
What numbers would you think?
I'm saying Jake Plummer's got to be in the 90 range.
He's 31.
31?
And Clinton Portis is shaken up. John Kitna right now has a 22 quarterback rating, but Clinton Portis, boy, he is a tough customer. Clinton, he takes those hits. Not a big guy as running backs go.
I think he got his.
He's all right.
Looks like he got the wind knocked out of him. We'll see if we can see it here.
He'll be out about 30 seconds.
Yeah, or he may be out for the rest of the game. This might turn into a preseason game for the Broncos and wrap him in bubble wrap and leave him on the bench.
Both quarterbacks have 2 interceptions today and no touchdown throws.
Well, that'll do it to your quarterback rating.
Clinton Portis said he's up to about 208, 210 this year.
Just got over 100 yards on the day.
He didn't want to tell us, Steve, what he really weighed at the end of last year. He said, what about 200? He said, oh, maybe down to 190 somewhere. Like the low 190s. Here is a throw by Jake as he is hammered.
Yeah, they got to throw him. They did, too.
Roughing the passer as they got Adrian Ross.
I'll tell you what, Don, that was an outstanding play by Jake Plummer. Watch what happens. He sees him.
Intentional grounding. Number 16.
What's wrong with that?
In the area. 10 yards.
They call it intentional grounding.
Third down.
I thought they called it a late hit.
No,
I didn't see a late hit.
No, that was actually a pretty good play, and it looked like it was going to be a late hit, but it wasn't. His intentional grounding. I don't know if I agree with that because there was a guy out there where Jake Plummer threw it.
Adrian Ross, who made the big rush, is a former Ram from Colorado State in his 6th year. Worked up to a starting linebacker position this year. 57.
And there's a guy. Well, it passed a guy out there. No, I think Mike Shanahan was closer than anybody else, and he's not eligible.
Third quarter winding down and out now. Third down in the long yardage. 3rd and 24. And here comes an angry defense. They haven't given up anything, these Bengal defenders. They come hitting again. Mike Anderson carries, and he is knocked down by Jeff Burris and John Thornton. As that's the end of the third quarter with the score. The Broncos 27, the Bengals 3. We'll be returning to Paul Brown Stadium with the Broncos in command of the game after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Get ready to start the 4th quarter. As we ask, has your fantasy football league manager let you down? Well, it's not too late to switch to Fantasy Football Commissioner on CBS Sportsline. Just click on Fantasy Football at CBSSportsline.com or on America Online. Enter keyword CBS Sportsline. Here's the punt hit downfield. Peter Warrick is back. Fields it at the 35. And a terrific special teams play again by the Broncos. That was Anderson who came down and got him. Now we ask a question of you. How important is a Week 1 win? Is it vital to a successful season? Important, but not a season breaker. Nice, but not a must-have. Not important at all. Cast your vote at NFL.com. If you say not important at all, you shouldn't be watching football.
It's important, but not a season breaker. It's bigger than a regular season game, but there's such a long season ahead for both these clubs. Anything can happen. But there's nothing like a good start, and the Broncos have gotten it today.
First down, John Kitna shortening up his patterns. Here's a tip ball. It's up for grabs. And Reggie Hayward moving at the ball. Young defensive end. One of the compliments Kitten had for the Bronco defense, he said, you look at their years in the league, it's primarily a young defense, but they disguise everything so well. He said they're very well schooled and coordinated.
Well, that's the sign of a top flight defense. I mean, they're where they're supposed to be, and not only are they there, they're there with confidence and some enthusiasm. And this Denver Broncos defense has shown that today.
Ooh, a bobbled ball. Ian Gold almost had another one. Lenny Walls tipped it, and Gold was the last to have his hands on it. He's already been in the end zone once with an interception. And so that stops the clock with 14:39 to play in the game.
Watch, this is so well played by the Denver defense. Kitten has got to get rid of it, throw it between the hands, and that was well defended there by Lenny Walls. And that's just, you know, they bat it up, and it seems like wherever there's a loose ball, there are more Broncos around it than there are Bengals.
Now Kitten on 3rd and 10, sets up in the shotgun. Gets some time, long ball. He's got a guy wide open, but he can't get to the ball. Chad Johnson had the defense beaten soundly, and Kitten is just a little bit too long with the ball. It would have been a touchdown.
And even at this point, that's a 1, 2, 3 and out for the Bengals offense.
That was one of their best plays, though.
Yeah, and here in the second half, the Bengals defense has played much better than this offense. They have just missed at every turn. You see there, John Kitten just needs some help, and he can't make anything happen.
Not many guys in the field as fast as Chad Johnson. It's for certain that Kenoy Kennedy isn't one of them. He's the one who blew by the safety. Now the punt is angled out of bounds, and it goes out of bounds just outside the 35. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 36-yard line for the Broncos. We'll be coming back to Paul Brown Stadium on a beautiful day in a moment. 4th quarter moving on now in the Cincinnati Bengals. Only once close to the goal line. That was when they had a 1st and goal at the 6-yard line and only came away with a field goal. Actually, it ended up a much longer field goal because they had a penalty before they kicked it a second time. And now it's 1st and 10 for Jake Plummer and the Broncos. McCaffrey in motion. He's not caught a ball today. He has a streak of 67 straight games catching a ball. Another reverse. Rod Smith, and he gets plus yards close to the 40. They saw something, Steve, about this defense. It over-pursued because they're running reverses all day long, plus yards every time.
Well, the Bengals were one of the top teams in the league statistically in the preseason. And right now, they're still playing like it's the preseason because the Broncos are in the regular season, and they have really turned it up. But you're right, Don. I think they've run at least 5 end-arounds, and you don't do that against a team who's not vulnerable to it.
They've really been vulnerable to it. Now they go to straight-ahead football, and Clinton Portis shaken up a little bit ago. Back in, doing his good work. He's got the gain of about 2 yards. He keeps the clock running. As Eddie Mack, as they call him. What a player he's been.
Well, you know, back in Denver, you know, his wife Lisa and his 4 boys, Max, Christian, Dylan, Lucas. What happened to Dad today? He hasn't caught a ball. Look at that. That's a record. 67 consecutive games that he's played in. Now, you know, he lost a season with a badly broken leg.
91, yeah.
And when he's in the game, they get him the ball.
2001. Came back last year to catch 67 passes over 900 yards. Got over 500 catches in his career, 443 as a Bronco. Of course, McCaffrey spent time with the Giants 3 years, who somehow waived him in their wisdom, and he went to San Francisco under Shanahan for a year, and he's come back to be a tremendous force in this offense of the Broncos.
You know, now as you see Ed McCaffrey, they're coming off still without a catch, but has to be happy with the outcome of this game.
Warwick backpedals to the 5-yard line, making people miss, but not all of them, as the Broncos are so in position covering kicks. Just tremendous coverage. 55-yard punt, a 6-yard return. Willie Middlebrooks was the guy who finally got him. The Bengals break the huddle, trying once again to get something going against a Bronco defense that has really shut down everything they've tried. Here's a long ball over the middle. It is taken by the tight end, Matt Schober. A second-year player from TCU, and he's all the way out to the 49-yard line. A gain of 39 yards on the play, so they go deep to the tight end.
Well, they feel like they've really upgraded their tight end position this year. Matt Schobel is the pass-catching tight end, right at the inside edge of the numbers, trying to split the deep safeties, and they got it done. Schobel is the guy they bring in for just that exact purpose. He's a good route runner and a good blocker. The other two tight ends for the Bengals are run blockers. This guy they throw the ball to.
Schobel's brother is a starting tight end for defensive end for the Bills, as now they get John Kitten in the grass for a loss of about 6 yards. Third sack of Kitten today.
He's been harried all day.
Reggie Hayward got in there.
That defensive front of the Broncos continues to be right in his lap. He stepped up, had no time to go from his first option to his second before it collapsed all over him.
Look at those numbers. Sacked 3 times, hurried 12, knocked down. Knocked down 7 times. Now it's 2nd and long. He's been here before today. He throws over the middle. Nicely done. He makes a connection to Kelly Washington, a rookie wide receiver from Tennessee, who they think could be a tremendous player. He has 4.4 speed and he weighs 225 pounds.
This is a guy that's got a great body for the NFL. I mean, this guy is bitter. He's a practice squad guy, but one of these guys you love to have on your team. He's intelligent. He's bilingual. He speaks fluent German. He's that kind of guy. I mean, this is the kind of guy Marvin Lewis wants on his team.
Coming up a neck injury. Now they're throwing slants up the middle and getting first downs doing it. So the ball is thrown and completed, and it's ahead for a first down as Peter Warwick comes in out of a slot receiver position right over the middle.
Down we were talking, and earlier on, John Kitten was taking 5- and 7-step drops, and they moved it down to 3-step drops. I mean, now he doesn't have time to take 1 step. I mean, he's just trying to get rid of the football any way he can, because it's either getting batted down or he's getting crushed in the pocket by the defensive line of the Broncos.
Kidna, hands off. Running hard with the ball is Brandon Bennett, the backup to Corey Dillon, and he takes it inside the 40 on a first down carry. He got about 2 as the leading tackler was Ian Gold.
The Denver Broncos are really starting to do some things defensively. They're giving the Bengals problems. Even now, even though their defensive line, you see those guys lined up right there, they're starting to bring guys off the edge. They're starting to do some things. They have not checked it in. This is what you and I said earlier. If you got a 20-point lead or a 24-point lead, you want 30.
Well, Kidney gets time this time, and almost another interception as he overshoots the intended receiver, Chad Johnson. We asked Mike Shanahan yesterday, how would he rate the division? He says, well, everybody in this league thinks their own division is the toughest. But he said one thing about our division, we've got 4 owners, starting with Pat Bowlen, who all want to win. They'll spend what it takes. So you see some other teams said, guys, $12 million under the salary cap. How much do you want to win? How much do you want to make money?
You're right. I mean, you saw there that graphic. When this guy gets a lead, he knows how to hang on to it. The Denver Broncos are a very difficult team to come back on.
Timing throw, nicely done, gets short yardage. But somebody is always in position. It's very hard to beat him deep. One guy has all day, and that's Matt Schobel. And another open receiver deep, Chad Johnson, who blew by the safeties, but the ball was overthrown. That would have gone for about a 60-yard touchdown.
Now it's 4th down, and once again, for the 3rd time in the game, the Bengals are going to try and go for it. They're 0 for 2.
Well, I know they won't run a draw again. I shouldn't say that.
The Broncos are going to bring some heat, I would imagine.
Here's the guy they're going to go to, Warwick in motion. Number 80.
Here comes the blitz.
Looking at Warwick, making a throw. Oh, almost intercepted him. Back to Paul Brown Stadium. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker. Opening Sunday of the 2003 season. 9:10 left to play. Broncos have been in command throughout. Their new quarterback, Jake Plummer, in his 7th year in the league. Working the offense, hands off. Whether there was a football, it was a helmet. And 2 brothers, 1 kid, no grown-ups. Charlie Sheen stars in the new comedy 2.5 Men, premiering Monday, September 22nd, after Raymond here on CBS. Jake Plummer, 11 for 21, throwing the ball, 109 yards. No touchdowns, 2 interceptions. But they pay off in final numbers. It's 27-3.
You got that right. They've dominated. Absolutely dominated.
Jake gets time, throws the ball, he's picked off. Boy, that's a nice play by the defender, and who else but the ex-Bronco. That's Roman who got it. Mark Roman comes up and gets that one. So Jake's now thrown 3 picks today.
Jake Plummer in his throws has consistently been behind the receivers. When he comes up and throws from the pocket, he has not put the ball out in front of the receivers. You see there, that is well behind Shannon Sharp. It was the exact same story earlier when he threw an interception, and the balls that have been bad have been well behind every receiver he's tried to find.
Mark Roman takes a seat. With your safety from LSU, and now another ball is turned over as Kitna loses the ball, and the Broncos
turned over.
Have it right back, and John Kitna should be removed from the game. I don't care how poorly you think his offensive line is playing, he is totally incompetent behind it. 4th turnover of the day for Cincinnati.
Well, so begins the debate, Don, you and I. You think Carson Palmer should take every snap, and you have good reason to think that.
Well, Peyton Manning took every snap of every game for the Colts when he was the #1 draft choice in the NFL. And look where he's gone. One of the great players in the league at his position. Last year, the Houston Texans had the #1 pick. It was a quarterback, David Carr. He took every snap of every game last year.
And you know what? Both those guys were playing on better teams than this Cincinnati Bengal team. Even the first-year expansion club in Houston won more games than this club did a year ago. That guy, Carson Palmer, would have absolutely no chance to be successful if they put him in.
Okay, well then what you do is you stay with John Kitna, go 2-14 again, and then have a new beginning again in 2004.
Cincinnati challenges a call on the field of a fumble.
And Mike Shanahan believes that might have been a fumble, and they're challenging this downstairs.
Amplify also on the Kitna. I mean, I don't think any announcers in the league, and we've seen the Bengals last year, have given John Kitna more good words when he had good games like last year in 6-game stretch. The Bengals had 350-plus yards a game total offense, one of the most productive offenses in the league, even though they were losing at the wire. But do you think it's a total breakdown in the offensive line?
I think
there's some bad decisions go with it.
Yeah, after reviewing the play, the quarterback takes his arm back to throw a pass. But before the arm goes forward, the ball comes loose in his hands. The ruling on the field stands as a fumble. Cincinnati is charged with their first timeout, and that is their last review opportunity.
And you'll see here, the rule says if he comes back and there's an empty hand, you'll see there. And I thought that was very close, Don. I thought that could have gone either way, but they probably, because it was not indisputable, and this you'll get a better idea.
I'll tell you one thing, Steve.
I think it was an incomplete forward pass, but it does not go the way of the Bengals, as just one more thing today.
Trevor Price makes my all-pro team. Oh, man, he's in on everything. Here is a handoff to Portis. Hit and dropped as Rogers Beckett comes up and hits him. Let's watch a highlight package of Clinton Portis having yet another big day. This tremendous second-year player.
From start to finish, Clinton Portis has been a huge weapon. I mean, this guy's having a day today. If this continues, I mean, as last year, he's going to be an MVP candidate if this keeps up. I mean, this is a guy that got it done all of last year, and he's picked up right where he left off. This is a guy that's going to be one of the absolute elite players in the National Football League when this season's over.
Well, today, Steve, he has 107 yards rushing, 39 receiving. Total offense for Clinton Portis, 146 yards. As Portis runs it again for a first down, he keeps building his numbers. I mean, of all his stats of his fabulous rookie year, I mean, the 5.51 yards per carry, best in the NFL.
And you know, they have this saying where good backs get stronger in the fourth quarter, and that's a pretty accurate assessment of what happens. But the truth of the matter is this: the Cincinnati Bengals are getting tired of tackling this guy. He is coming just like he did in the first quarter, and it's the fourth quarter, and the Bengals are lumped up, and they just don't want any part of him. And it looks like he's getting stronger, when in reality, the Bengals are getting softer.
Well, he could be getting stronger, because he did that last year as he runs again. Last year, they played Broncos played 5 games in the month of December. And in those 5 games, Clinton Portis, a rookie weighing in the 190s, had 166 yards a game total offense. defense each on an average.
And those are the guys. That's the series. That's a pretty good company right there. LaDainian Tomlinson, Ricky Williams, Priest Holmes, and Clinton Portis. And the thing that sets him apart, that was his first shot at it. I mean, right out of the gates in his career, he's put numbers like that up. And you can continue to expect great things from this guy.
And this team is as motivated as I've ever seen a Bronco team. I mean, they're always well prepared and well motivated. This team has a real fire that's been fanned by failing to make the playoffs last year. Anderson runs a penalty marker down, and the criticism that's come, you know, what are you going to do without John Elway? They've not been to the playoffs since John Elway was their quarterback, or they've not won a playoff game. The last playoff game they won was after the '98 season when they won Super Bowl 33 against Atlanta.
Offside, 94 defense, penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
And Mike Shanahan, we sat down with him yesterday. He's really a forthright guy. When he sits down, I mean, he tells it like it is. And his belief is simple, and all the the best ones have the same one. If you do everything right, if you absolutely do everything right, make every decision the way you're supposed to, you can't guarantee that you're going to win. But if you don't do everything right, I guarantee you that you won't. And that's what the Bengals are trying to learn, and they're getting taught a lesson today.
But even in their 2-14 season last year, the Bengals went right down to the wire with some of the best teams in the league. I mean, they blew a chance to beat Tennessee when a lineman accidentally tripped Corey Dillon on a goal line play from a yard out, 4th down, and they would have won the game. So they were close in a lot of games in that 2-14 season.
They were close in a lot of games, Don, but you know what? You don't sneak up on anybody on opening day. Nobody's looking past you on opening day. And the problem with the Cincinnati Bengals, especially today, they don't get to play the Cincinnati Bengals on opening day. The Broncos do.
Now they got the same offensive coaches for the most part. Paul Alexander's the offensive line coach for the Bengals. As Jake the Snake takes a look, throws a ball, and comes in high. And looking in the direction of Shannon Sharp.
Jake Plummer has not been accurate today. They're going to win this game, and they're going to look good doing it. But Jake Plummer's going to watch this film. He's going to be a little bit disgusted with himself.
Well, he's 55%, just over 55% for his career as a passer in the NFL.
That's probably what he'll end up today in a blowout, and that's not good enough.
Career 69 quarterback rating, but you also have to add in he was playing for the Arizona Cardinals.
And you know, today that I've noticed, he hasn't had to run much at all. He's been standing in the pocket.
The Elway fans in Ohio also is right now. Jake on 3rd down and 9. Stands in, makes a throw and a connection to Rod Smith, who's taken down by Jeff Burris.
One of the things that's going to happen to the Broncos if they continue to play offense like this throughout the year, one is teams are going to pile in and try and stop Clinton Portis, and then they are going to take away the short pass from Jake Plummer. They're going to try and get him to throw down the football field and air it out because he has been very inaccurate in that aspect of their offense, and they're going to make him do it.
Look at the team you led to 4 straight Super Bowls, the Bills.
Having a good day. I don't know if I led them. Let's say I tagged along.
28-0 over the Patriots. Beat him badly twice last year. Here's Jay. What a kicker this guy is. 39-yarder. This guy's automatic, and so are the people who connect with him, the long snapper and the holder. Mike Leach. Long snapper. Right now we want to tell you about a great event coming up on CBS a bit later in the day. It's the grand finale of the world's toughest tennis tournament, but certainly a terrific day for the Broncos. They were just ready to play great football.
Jake Plummer's going to have to be a more accurate passer for this team to have aspirations of going deep into the playoffs. There's no question this is a playoff caliber team. Absolutely no question at all. Even against a Bengals team who's struggling to rebuild, this team dominated them as they should have. And Jake Plummer, with the help of his teammates, are going to come out with a victory, and Marvin Lewis will continue to try and rebuild here.
But one game does not a season make. As we talked about the Tennessee Titans, a 1-4 start. The owner, Bud Adams, was blasting the head coach, Jeff Fisher, questioning whether or not this team was well prepared enough. These guys rally back, win 10 of their last 11 games, and end up in the AFC Championship game, and might be an AFC favorite this year. Certainly one of them.
Well, you look around the league, you'll see that great teams have great leadership, Don, on the field, not on the sidelines, not in the front office, but players on the field. When you have great players on the field, your whole team is better, not just those great players.
Well, here's one of the better kick returners in the AFC. Brandon Bennett, this time he works it out for a 25-yard return to the 25-yard line. Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes, then it's Without a Trace at a special time, followed by the CBS Sunday movie Breakdown starring Kurt Russell and Kathleen Quinlan. It's all here tonight on CBS, America's most watched network. Steelers, man, they're hammering the Ravens on opening day 34-7. Could be some big upsets. Right now the Texans are leading the heavily favored Dolphins in Miami. Throwing a catch, and Warwick gets the ball, but there's nowhere to go. It's Kelly Herndon runs him down.
Now it's getting to a point where you can even see the Denver Broncos defense. They're looking around. They look up at the scoreboard, less than 4 minutes to go. Got a big lead. They're starting to realize and feel pretty good about the game they've played. You can see the intensity levels drop just a little bit with that tackle.
I'll tell you one, this is a good-looking receiver, though, this Kelly Washington. He was a third-round draft choice with 4.4 speed at 225. He had a neck injury, which dropped him in the draft, but he might be the fastest Bengal, and he's big. Getting the throws. Schobel makes the catch. Hard hit put on by Sam Brandon, who says that he and Kenoy Kennedy will one day be the equal of Steve Atwater and Dennis Smith as Broncos safeties. That'll take some doing, Sam.
You can't blame him for his goals. Those two guys can play. You may as well set him high. Yeah, it is a heck of a goal. We'll see.
Long ball. Man is open. That is Chad Johnson, and he comes down with the ball. Touchdown. 41-yard touchdown play. So they got Johnson deep earlier and couldn't get him the ball. They overthrew him to Kidna. Now he hits him on a spectacular play by Johnson. And the first touchdown for the offense of the Marvin Lewis Bengals.
They've missed on a couple of opportunities. You can see there, Chad Johnson, not much of a celebration, not much to celebration. You know what, Don? That's a good sign right there. Great play. Still disgusted with the way he played. His teammates played. Not happy about it, but still out there fighting.
Well, he's caught 5
look on his face. Yeah, the look on his face is a positive. That is a positive for the Cincinnati Bengals. You'd love to see that.
Challenging the call on the field of a completed pass.
On Denver's going to say that he was down by contact when he landed and rolled into the end zone. And here we'll get a look at it. We'll see. Does he get touched before he gets into the end zone when he's down?
No, I
think he might have.
He's rolling.
Delta O'Neal. I think he got touched on his way down. You're right. That's O'Neal right on his heels. He'll clip him right there.
No, I think it's a touchdown.
I don't know. I think it might be. He touched him on the way down. I think that's good enough. I think they're going to give him.
Also, this is not the deciding play of the Super Bowl. These guys are hopelessly out of the game.
I think that's good. I think he's going to get touched it down because he was. Well, I don't know, because he touched him before he had complete control of the football. And in the day and age of what they say in the NFL, you have to complete the act of catching the football before it's considered a reception. So we'll see. Now there he's got the ball. It's still not a catch until he lands. And once he lands, he has not been touched. So I think that's a touchdown.
That's a terrific play by Chad Johnson. First of all, the catch is phenomenal.
Yeah, you kind of lose sight of the fact, since we're looking at the hands and feet and whether he got touched. That's a tremendous catch.
Yeah, watching him on the practice field Friday, it's hard to believe how fast this guy can run. He is really fast.
And that's the thing that sets him apart. I mean, they've had receivers here in the past, Darnay Scott, Carl Pickens. The thing that sets this guy apart is he's interested in how the team does. He is a team player. He works hard. He goes the extra mile. He wants everybody to do well. He likes his numbers. He likes his catches. But he is interested in team success. You couldn't always say that about players who've been here in the past. And those are the kind of guys that Marvin Lewis is finding out about. 41% of the players on this team, as I said before, are new. Marvin Lewis came in and really overhauled, and a lot of the players that have been around started to look over their shoulder for the first time in their careers, and that is a good thing.
That gentleman on the left of Chad Johnson, he's been with the Bengals since I think the first game. Great guy, Sam. Equipment room. He has been a big part of the Bengals. This is a tremendous guy.
You know, every team in the league has got those guys. Been there since day one, been there for 40 years. You got to have them.
Denver challenged the play that the pass was incomplete and that it touched the ground. There is no replay that shows the ball after it passes the receiver's body. The only shot we have shows the hand under the ball. Therefore, we stay with a call on the field of a completion. The receiver was touched, but he was touched prior to possession. Therefore, the score count.
That's right. Touch before he landed, just like we called it, Don. And that's interesting because Mike Shanahan thought it was incomplete. He didn't think he was down by contact. So, and I think under these rules, it's excellent that the officials can take all of that into account.
Now, here's something the fans will be interested in. Denver has a total of 283 yards offense in this game. How many do you think Cincinnati has?
60.
283, the same.
Right.
Bill George, our statistician. I hope you're not making this stuff up, Bill.
I got to start guessing better. That's for sure.
You never let the facts get in the way of a good story.
That's right.
So a great play by Kitna, and particularly by its receiver, Chad Johnson. So they do not go away without a touchdown on opening day.
There's an interesting comparison. There's Greasy's first start as a Bronco. 24 for 40, 3 TDs and no interceptions. Plummer 12 for 24, no TDs and 3 interceptions. And that's been the story of Jake Plummer's career. He throws interceptions. And you saw today the reasons were his arm. He was not accurate enough to put the ball in there. He was missing his receivers.
But if you win 30-10 though,
easy to gloss over.
Change pitchers.
Yeah, it's easy to gloss over 3 interceptions, especially, well, one of those interceptions was a tipped pass at the line of scrimmage, but he did miss some open receivers, and he won't be completely happy, as you never should be when you watch game film. But this is the point where Mike Shanahan's going to sit him down and start coaching. There's a whole different set of problems on the other side of the football field.
And it is game 1, and if you want to draw encouragement from anything, you look at the Tennessee Titans, 1-4, and they just missed going to the Super Bowl. It is not over after week 1. They have a tough one next week. The Steelers come in here, and they are laying waste to the Baltimore Ravens today. Kickoff is hit hard downfield. Delta O'Neal is back. Shane Graham's kickoff, and O'Neal, who is very fast, gets out to the 15-yard line.
His heart wasn't in that return. I mean, Delta O'Neal's a great cornerback. He has great coverage skills, has great ball skills. But our guy Deion Sanders back in New York, if you compare the way they two played, Deion Sanders was Ray Lewis compared to the way Delta O'Neal plays quarterback. He does not like to tackle.
And nobody's ever accused him of over-practicing. He's just got so much natural ability.
He does. I mean, that guy is a phenomenal athlete.
Well, he got benched at the end of last year. He wasn't that phenomenal.
He's not a physical corner, and you got to be at certain points in the NFL season.
Handoff, and the run goes to big Mike Anderson, a guy that's hard not to root for, the former Marine who was the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year.
There he is, Steve Berline.
17-year veteran. I saw him this morning. I said, you're going to play longer than George Blanda. They did quite a sales job. They actually sent Plummer to Charlotte, where he's living, to convince him to come back as his backup. Monday, Dave's All New with the very funny Jack Black. And later this week, don't miss Salma Hayek, Cuba Gooding Jr., and Sharon Stone. Dave's All New all this week right here on CBS, America's most watched network. Dave blowing some things up there.
You know, Steve Berline is exactly the kind of quarterback you want to have playing behind Jake Plummer, because if something happens, he's been around so long, it's all football to him. You can call it different things, you can have different types of formation, different vocabulary, but he has seen it all.
Has he? He's been a Pro Bowl player. Pitch back, gets the ball to Mike Anderson. The impressive thing about Mike Anderson now is his per carry average. For his career, he's averaged 4.6 yards a carry. Limited carries last year, and only 386 yards rushing. But his rookie year back in 2000, he had almost 1,500.
Well, I think the good thing to notice about Mike Anderson, this was a guy who was a 1,000-yard rusher as a running back, did everything they asked him to. He's a great special teams player. And then when Clinton Portis came in, he says, I'll play fullback. I just want to be on the field. He has moved into the fullback position, doesn't get very many. He's quality. I mean, look at this list of the guys they've had back there. Terrell Davis, obviously one of the great ones ever, had that unbelievable 98 season. And then you just go down the list. I mean, maybe Mike Shanahan has a crystal ball about who he picks, because all these guys were passed up by everybody.
It's amazing. I mean, a lot has to go with the offensive line play, the overall schemes. When you get, you know, the Terrell Davis in the 6th round, here's a guy who's just retired after 8 seasons and 7,600 yards. It is amazing what they do with their runners. High rounds, low rounds, they're all productive. 3rd down now coming up for Burline and the Broncos. Rolling out. He's got an open field to look at. And he's heading for the 12th man and bails out.
And he got the 1st down.
Burline is a high school player at Servite High School in Southern California. One of my nephews played with him. Started only 1 year.
By the way, where did he go to college? I don't know.
Notre Dame. He started 4 years.
Oh, is that right? Funny how you'd know that.
And he wants to be a broadcaster. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to keep playing though. I said, well, this your last year? He said, I don't know. He said, I like it out there.
No kidding. I mean, this, you know, why give up this gig? I mean, you're on a playoff caliber football team on a franchise that's second to none. Hey, man.
This is a man I think predates Jerry Faust. Mike Anderson runs the ball and gets to about the 28.
There's an old saying in the National Football League, and guys start asking you, how long are you going to play? How long are you going to play? And this is how it goes. You say, you play as long as you possibly can, and then play 1 more year. So you can take from it what you want, but that's what that's the program I think he's on. Play as long as you've got a spot on the roster, and then try and squeeze out another one.
Oh, you're talking, Steve, that Jake the Snake went down to Charlotte, and he actually sold Steve Burline is coming back as a free agent to back him up. He's got a lot of good things to say about Jake Plummer. Steve Burline does. He thinks he's got it. Welcome back to Cincinnati. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker. Maybe the only thing that hasn't gone right for the Broncos today, Eddie McCaffrey's 67-game catching streak in jeopardy with 2 minutes to go.
Oh, it's amazing, because they really do have a great trio of receivers: Eddie McCaffrey, Rod Smith, and now Ashley Lally. You think they're going to make an extra effort to get Ed McCaffrey a catch? We'll see if it's that kind of ball game here.
Well, he's not the guy who'll tell him he doesn't have one, though.
That's right, and I think that's one of the things we noticed in talking to these players and coaches. They're all in it together.
Not going to catch one now. He's not on the field. Here is a handoff. They just got a power package in now. Extra tight ends. This is called run out the clock. With 1:50 left to play. So the opening day for Marvin Lewis. And I think a big indicator is how they rebound next week against a very good team coming in here, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well,
may I say something early? They might beat the Steelers. And the Steelers look tremendous today.
Well, they're going to have to bounce back in a big way, because they came in here with everything to gain. They've really started to do things right here in Cincinnati, which for a long time you just couldn't say. But it doesn't guarantee instant results.
Burline gets sacked back inside the 25-yard line. As coming in to get him is Dwayne Clemens, one of the people that Marvin Lewis brought in. Guy who started 16 games last season at Kansas City.
He's a former number 16 pick, 16th overall pick, and you know that's. You're going to see that a lot here in Cincinnati, Don. Marvin Lewis is going to spend this year and probably next year and maybe the year after turning this roster over again and again.
Now into the punt mode as they hit the ball downfield with just 38 seconds left to play. And they let it drop. It rolls out of bounds at the 25. That gives us a chance to tell you that the executive producers of the NFL on CBS are Sean McManus and Tony Petitti. The coordinating director is Larry Cavallina. Today's game was produced by Vic Frank and directed by Craig Silver. The senior producer of CBS Sports in the NFL today is Eric Mann. The director is Bob Mattina. Coordinating producer of CBS Sports is Harold Bryant. The associate directors of today's game, Sean Gerchikoff. The broadcast associate is Sarah Rinaldi. The technical manager, Tom McCarthy. The technical director, Clark Sabo. And the audio supervisor, Mr. Devin Fouts.
And there's Eddie Mack.
We thank them all for their usual very good work. As right now, it's down the stretch, and they'll try to fire it downfield. Kitna going the duration. Throws on the run. He's got a guy. It's tipped. And these Broncos are in position on defense. It's tough to get one by him.
Well, I think even at this point, you can see the Broncos are staying very disciplined in the secondary. Their pass rush is still working. John Kitna still has to step away from pressure. And the Broncos are going to find very few things as a team that they can feel bad about. Jake Plummer is not going to feel very good about no touchdowns and 3 interceptions.
But everybody feels good about opening day with a dominant win on the road. Another road game. They can win in San Diego. They'd be in a 14-game season with 8 at home with a 2-0 record. Pretty heavily weighted towards making the playoffs. You start that way, the Broncos.
There's a lot of football left to be played. Anything could happen here, even in Cincinnati. But you got to think Marvin Lewis has his sights on turning this team into a playoff contender. But I'll tell you this, Don, if it takes 2 years, there'll be a lot of guys starting on both sides of the football for the Cincinnati Bengals who will not make this team in 2 years.
Well, today it's the Broncos dominating 30-10 as we're now down to 20 seconds left to play. From the shotgun, Kitna with 4 guys running deep patterns. Here comes the heat. You say, Steve, you have the ball. Violence will soon follow. A long ball downfield. A lot of people jumping for it. It's incomplete and very nearly picked. Intended receiver was Warwick, and now we have 8 seconds left to play. Al Wilson, we were talking about we met with Al yesterday, how absolutely he was on fire to play this game. He was on the field when Corey Dillon ripped him for 278 yards the last time they played.
Yeah, this is a defense, and one of the good things you'll see about this team is the teams that win championships in the National Football League are able to bring defensive linemen in waves, keep the defensive linemen fresh, because the offensive linemen never change. And in the fourth quarter, your D linemen and the pass rush is still fresh.
And today, Corey Dillon ended up with 14 carries for 34 yards. Here's a throw, and Schobel catches another one. This guy's really good and courageous. He knows the hits are coming. And that is it. A long completion to Schobel as the Broncos win decisively 30-10. Now for Steve Tasker, I'm Don Crickey saying so long from Paul Brown Stadium. Right now, we're going to go to Jim Nantz in our NFL studio in New York. Thanks for joining us.